Hey, folks, welcome to Bouncing Brains. I'm Sean Hatfield.
And I'm Freddy G. And I'm wired as fuck.
Coffee. He's talking about coffee.
Yeah, I think so.
And I'm Ray Flowers. Am I supposed to introduce
No, we were going to introduce you.
But go ahead. You gotta fuck that up already. So go ahead.
Freddie just had to throw a joke in there.
Yeah, it's your fault. What the fuck? But yeah, I'm Ray Flowers. I'm the guest today.
And that really is his name. Flowers.
Yes.
Ray.
We're doing this early in the morning. We're all barely awake. Have fun.
Have a lot of fun. So Ray, how you doing, bro? You good?
Pretty good, man.
Everything good?
Just doing school. I have an internship and work, so I barely get to work, but I'm busy like all the time now.
What do you mean you barely get to work?
Well, like the only times I'm available to work is like on the weekends now. So
Oh shit.
yeah, like
So like, hey, you don't have to go into detail and shit. I don't know how much personal shit I want to put out there, but like how the whole financial situation, is that really taking a hit or?
little bit, but I mean, I have like other ways of making money, so it's not
Okay,
too
we
bad.
definitely not gonna go into any details of that, but
Oh no, I DJ in like San Antonio. Like I've been getting gigs and stuff. So
for DJing,
yeah, like
how
I just
the
came
fuck did you not tell me that you were a DJ? Wait, hold on, before we go any further. Are you like a real DJ or are you like one of those what do you call them? The press
a
a
press
button.
play?
Yeah.
Is
I mean,
an
I
iPod
can be-
included in your kit in any way, shape, or form?
No,
Okay.
I can DJ. It's just that sometimes when I have to DJ with Alondra's dad, I have to fucking tone it down. So I just
What do you
press
mean
play
tone it
most-
down?
like we do like weddings.
As far as like the whole DJ show type shit, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
And like he's annoying sometimes because he wants to be the main DJ, but he doesn't know how to DJ. Like,
You know that Lonnie's gonna hear this, right?
so what? I don't fucking care.
He said, I don't fucking.
Look, I'll tell you how you fix this, man. You get him his own separate little table and just don't plug it in. You just watch him there spinning up the record, and it's like, no, that's exactly how you do it. And then just fucking.
I really wish I could do that, man. But nah, he pays me, so I'll just let him do his thing.
That makes sense.
It's like I just show up just to show up, fix stuff or set shit up, and then I'm done.
Got you.
Hey, to quote the old hooker, it's amazing what you'll do for some money.
Yeah, definitely. So you how long you been doing the whole DJ shit? I really didn't know this.
Like 10 years.
Well, thank you for just letting me know. I've known you for like 9 years, and I'm now just finding this shit out. So
9 years. Okay. No, man. Like I have a lot of fucking talents. I don't really tell anybody.
jerking off's not one of
Nah, it's hidden talent number one.
them.
The best. No, but like
You didn't notice, man, but he managed to bust a nut getting his coffee right now. I wasn't going to say anything. I mean, I don't have to clean it up.
Pretty
So
much.
Yeah, that's why I
So
was
that's
limping a
the
little
white
bit.
shit running down his leg.
Yeah.
I was wondering what the fuck
Oh.
is anyway.
But no, I do art. Like I've been trying to learn to play music. That's like the next thing I want to do. And
By learn to play music, you mean an instrument?
yeah,
Like a guitar? Would a guitar be?
yeah, that is the first one. I was gonna do a piano, but pianos are fucking hard. So
Yeah.
it's like,
I wanted to learn how to play guitar and like learn chords. It's a true story. When I was growing up, I wanted to play guitar. Like it was one of the first things that interested me as like first music and shit. And but you know, for the people that don't know, I don't fold well, so just the whole physical aspect of it kind of got in the way of. And then the instructor, because I took some classes and shit, the worst $80 I've ever spent. But it wasn't his fault. It's just, you know, when they tell you, you know, you gotta do this shit for the chord, and even like when I was a kid, when I was younger, my condition was way worse. So yeah, like I couldn't hit the chords right. So, and then like with my whole dyslexia and shit like that, like sometimes this is gonna sound funny as fuck, but it's true, bro. sometimes, you know how when you play a guitar, because I'm lefty too, right?
Mm-hmm.
I play like this.
Yeah.
So when you're trying to do the chords and everything, I would concentrate so much on getting the right chord over here that I would forget to strum the guitar right sometimes. So it would, yeah. So, yeah. So,
oh, shit.
yeah, like I would. So then I would hold on to the chord and then strum and strum. But it was the switching part that would give me. So, and then so I was like, you know what? This shit is not going to work out. So I asked for my $80 back. He was like, oh.
Did he give it to you?
No. I was fucked on that.
Sounds like him.
So, yeah.
Yeah, man. The guitar is not. I know some people that can fucking jam their fucking asses off, man. But like, aside from the fact that I got stubby ass fucking fingers, man, I actually learned to play on a warped guitar. Like the head was just a little bit bent, so the strings were like fucking like a quarter inch off the board. So like my grip strength got fucking great, but like, yeah, just like I finally got on somebody else's guitar and I was like, why is this so easy?
That's funny.
Awesome.
I'll tell you what though, man, you want to learn to play an instrument that just is easy as fuck? Harmonica.
Oh,
Get the fuck out of here.
No, like seriously, man, I have never had any training in my fucking life, and I can totally just bullshit my way through like a fuckload of like stuff, man, on the harmonica.
But is there, okay, so I got a question on that, and maybe you're not the exact person I should be asking, but...
Oh, you want honest answers, or just...
like with the harmonica, you know how with as far as every instrument I know, like for the guitar, there's chords, and then there's chords for any kind of music and notes and shit like that.
Yeah.
With the harmonica, though, like how the fuck does it work? Because you just...
It's like whistling.
No, I get it. I get that part. What I don't get is, you know how you blow this way and it goes higher, and then you kind of blow this way and it sounds deeper or whatever. Yeah. Like how do you like on a guitar? Again, I don't know much about guitars, but there's a C chord, there's an A minor, and there's a certain way that you do it and you hit that note.
Right.
On the harmonica, how do you know how? Again, it's going to sound really stupid, but how do you know how far to move right and left, and so you know that you hit? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, like I think what you're trying to ask is what spots to hit on the harmonica, and like whenever you're blowing on it, it's almost like you're whistling. You just gotta know like which tone you gotta hit it at. So either you breathe like harder or a little softer in certain spots.
Yeah, and then like some harmonicas have the two-way, like you breathe in and you breathe out as well.
Oh, okay, so yeah, I see what you.
Yeah,
that's crazy, man. You know who plays a mean ass tune on the harmonica? Have y'all ever watched that homeless dude that sits at an array outside?
Do with the dogs?
No, the other one, the one that's I haven't seen him lately, but the one that sits further down from that dude.
Oh, the guy with the dogs is homeless?
Is he?
I don't fucking know, man.
I can't tell if he's homeless.
I know he's a veteran, but I don't know.
That sucks.
I don't know if he's homeless or not.
Yeah, I don't. Be honest, man. I do not keep track of the
homeless population.
Yeah, I just don't, man. Like, not just the homeless population, man, but the characters of 17th Street. Like when I started going down there, they still like every once in a while you'd still run into like the 6-foot tranny with like stubble and shit like that. Just hi guys.
Oh
yeah, man. That's you don't hear it quite as much anymore, probably because I don't even fucking know why, man. But like when I first started going down on 17th Street, man, you'd still get that like, oh my God, it's so dangerous down there. And it's like, no, just don't pick any fights and don't go on a Friday.
I mind your business. That's
man.
See, that's the thing about like jail. Like everybody thinks that like jail is a horrible place, which it is. It is a very horrible place. Nobody wants to be there. I'm not saying it's not. What I'm saying is, like, the perception of horrible jail from what it really is, like, they're two totally different things. People think that it's horrible because you think you're gonna go in there and you're gonna get your ass kicked and you're gonna get raped and shit like
your
that.
ass taken.
Yeah, exactly. That shit.
Just a bunch of things involving your ass.
Yeah, exactly. And the fact of the matter is that that's not true, man. Like that's not true. There's a large population of people in jail and especially prison that you don't get fucked. But and I mean that literally. But the thing is, going back to what you said, it's kind of the same thing. Like, if you really, I mean, if you're in there, it sucks, like I said. But if you go in there and you really mind your fucking business, you don't ask questions, you don't fuck with people, figuratively and literally, like, you're fine. Just keep to yourself and shit like that. But people have this perception of like, oh, you're going to jail, you're automatically gonna get raped, or that you're gonna get fucking killed or some shit.
I was thinking about this the other day. Part of the problem is, man, every time you see some movie about like prison or something like that, it's always like fucking like San Quentin or fucking like Rikers Island, and it's like, yeah, you mean the fucking like the most notorious fucking prisons in this? Yeah, okay.
Like, and that's the other thing that I told people. I was like, you got to understand, there's a difference between jail. And there's a difference between prison. And then there's a difference between prison and real fucking prison. Like take your prison here at the Cibolo and you compare that to San Quentin. Yeah, that's like black and white type of shit. I mean,
by the way, you know they have a maximum security.
Yeah.
Like, there's one, like, they have, like, the minimum security, and then they have, like, right next door is the maximum security unit. And then right next door to that, I think, is the fucking, like, the immigration detention, and then...
Yeah.
They just fucking,
jails next to jails.
No, here's the thing. They talk to there's a community out there, Fayetteville, that, like, they had to go to them and, like, kind of get them to sign off on it. And, so it was like, hey, you mind if we like build this like minimum security? You know, it won't be, you know, it's just minimum security because, you know, people fucking escape. And like, they were like, all right, fine, that's cool. And then they just kind of took that as a free pass and just started building one facility after another, like right next to each other down there. It's like, what the fuck, man?
Well, a lot of it, I feel and I believe that they do it because for like money purposes.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, that's a whole different conversation, but I'm just focusing on like what you said as far as like, you know, they built one and like next month you see another one, and like they build prisons quicker than they fucking fix expressways and shit like that. So, but like people don't realize that like it's a whole, there's a whole money system behind it. So they're very profitable, and I know people will disagree when I say that, but it's a whole profit thing. That's why I feel that like with people that go to prison, doesn't matter who you are, it's not really to rehabilitate you. And like numbers show that, and I'm pretty sure you know this better than I do, but as far as the numbers have shown that people that have been in prison for an extended period of time, the likelihood of you coming back to prison is like something like 80% or some shit like that, or 85%.
If you're gone that long, like you're not really being rehabilitated. You're just pretty much sitting in a fucking hole.
Exactly.
And then when you get out, you have no choice but to either do the crimes that you did in the past, or
my friend, my dad had a childhood friend that he grew up with or whatever. This dude like committed a crime, spent 18 years out of a 30-year sentence in prison, right? 18 years in prison, came out, lasted out here 3 days, and went back in for 8 years after 3 days. Of course, he violated parole, but it was like a robbery or something. and he went back for like 7 or 8 more years. And when he went back the second time, he says that like his uncle or his nephew, somebody visited him in prison, and they were on his ass. Like they were like, "Why did you do it, man?" Like after, and he literally said, "He's like, it's because this is all I know." Like he said, "I don't know how to deal with like the outside world." It's just, and he said that it was weird. He was like, "It's weird and it's scary." And you would think, I was like, so you fucking rather be in there? Isn't it scarier in there? But it goes back to like what you said, like when it's all you know, it's like.
Look, man, like there's a bunch of countries in Europe who have some weird fucking like the way they prosecute, the way they choose to do it. I mean, you got that shit in Norway where they that dude that walked into that private school and shot up all those kids like about 10 years back or so. I don't know
in Norway.
I think it was Norway. Yeah, that guy is like in one of those facilities where he has like his own. Basically, they have their own apartment. Like they even have like knives in the kitchen unit, but it's like tied to the wall or something. It's really weird, man. You can watch a bunch of documentaries on that shit. But they, even for murder, I want to say Germany and maybe Norway, both will not sentence anybody to more than 10 years. But they also don't have the death penalty, which is. But the idea is basically like, yeah, man, you put somebody away for longer than a fucking decade, they're not going to be able to like acclimate when they get out. And also the way we fucking house people in our prison system is just.
It's weird. It's weird. It's weird. And I'm not afraid to say this either. And I stand by it. Not only is it weird, but prison is literally not built to rehabilitate you. It's not. It's like people want for you to come back because they can make more money. And I'm saying this vaguely. There's detail that goes into it, but basically they want you to come back because they can make a lot more money from you. If you're in jail, than if you're not. And I had a thought with that, but it slipped my mind. I was going somewhere with it.
Dude, I didn't vote for what's his name, the libertarian candidate in the last election cycle. Well, actually, yeah, I want to say it was his last election cycle. I mean, Gary Johnson, he's the fucking, let's legalize weed and fuck it, let's legalize cocaine while we're at it. But here's the thing: he dropped a line when he was doing an interview on Joe Rogan's podcast about the private prisons, and he was like, "Yeah, we can do it for cheaper," and I was like, "Fuck you!"
Yeah,
like that, like. Anybody who brings up private prisons as a good thing should. Yeah.
There's something wrong with you.
Yeah, you don't get allowed to say anything.
He was the one. There was one candidate. I don't know if it was in this last election, but it sounds like him. He was the one that he wanted to legalize every drug, right?
Yeah.
It was him? Okay. Yeah, that dude wanted to legalize everything. And he said if you legalize everything, it'll drop the crime rate, and basically his whole thing was like, if you legalize everything, it'll make everything better. And I was like, dude, I'm not a politician, I'm not a doctor, and I don't have a specialty, but I'm sure that's not the way shit works.
Yeah, some drugs you shouldn't legalize. I mean, we had the dude who fucking ate that guy's face in Florida. Like, I don't think we want a whole bunch of those.
That's a little bit different, man, because what he was using, that whole bath salts thing, that's not even like
it is legal, actually.
No, it's not. But here's the thing: what they have to do is that's not a fixed compound. It's kind of like spice, the fake weed. It's just they're fucking around and like changing like the. I'm trying to remember the exact term for it is, but basically they're just taking the molecule and like flipping it around on certain stuff, and like kind of hoping that it has some kind of effect. Like it's like, well, this one doesn't, make you break out into sweats and shit your pants. So let's put that out as a product. And then like state by state, they'll make that compound illegal. No, I take that back. As the FDA or the DEA, I think. Anyway, regardless, they'll make that compound illegal. Either way, man, they'll take it. And then when they make that illegal, they'll just take that same molecule and swap it around. And then put it out because it's technically a new substance. I think they changed the rules so that any derivative of the compound is illegal by proxy. But yeah, that's not even real drugs. Do real drugs, kids. Fucking be doing spice. Dude, I swear to God, I grew up with some people that were hardcore fucking stoners, and they started getting onto that because, you can pass a piss test. Yeah, motherfucker, and you also look like a goddamn zombie, man.
Yeah.
Like, people got weird on that shit. I don't know if you've ever been around anybody who smokes that shit on a regular basis, but they just...
Spice?
Yeah.
No.
Dude, they get that thick, greasy sweat, kind of like a cokehead does after about, 48 hours of just doing blow, where it's like, it looks like jelly almost on their fucking skin. It's,
and you're glistening, like you look shiny and shit. Like,
that's nice.
It's crazy, dude.
Yeah, it's disgusting shit.
No, but we have like a lot of drugs that, like, if they were legal, like, this place would be fucking crazy.
Exactly. And like that's the way I feel. But
here's the thing, man. Part of the reason that people go to these weird ass fucking drugs is because they can't get, like, all right, I genuinely believe if they made cocaine legal and actually tested that shit, we would have I think far fewer people using cocaine. Because, like, if you do some bunk ass coke, man, like, you might feel like shit in the morning, but you're like, man, that didn't affect me. And then next thing you know, somebody gives you some real shit and you're up for 3 days, and then they cut it with meth or they'll cut it with some fucking bullshit. Whereas, like, genuinely good cocaine is just, it's fine. You can do like a little bit and you're good. You know what I mean? Unless you already got a taste for it, in which case you'll be up for 3 days anyway. But,
yeah.
And you also have like a lot fewer, like, genuinely, I know people who are hardcore fucking, like, way, like, beyond reason. The motherfuckers that would stay up for 3 days, disappear for the weekend. You know what I mean? Got to go to work on Monday and they'd get like 2 hours of sleep. But it was because they'd get like, all right, basically they'll sell you, like, you find somebody, all right, you buy in Coke at 4:00 in the afternoon. Those are people who have like lives and shit. You know what I mean? Like, they'll sell you some Coke and then fucking, you can fuck off. But then they'll stop selling after 9 o'clock or something. But the motherfucker that sells after 9 o'clock, that motherfucker has, like, let's say, a little less scruples about the quality of his product. And, like, fuck it, they'll cut it with some baby powder, fucking baking soda, whatever the fuck they want. And now all of a sudden you're just cramming shit up your nose, hoping that it's going to get you some kind of high. And that's when you go like, fuck it, we'll freebase it. And it just gets into like disgusting behavior because it's a crap product.
Yeah.
You follow me on this, man? Yeah. Like, and you'd have fewer people dying of overdoses. You'd have, I mean, the whole story of, what was it? Not Frank Lucas. What was the other asshole that,
Nicky Barnes?
There you go. And dude, notorious for fucking like they'd put out like high potency shit, like basically pure fucking heroin.
Yeah.
And a couple junkies would die or, OD or whatever, man. And then people would be like, oh shit, that's the fucking powerful shit. And then the next couple batches, they just cut the shit out of it. So like, basically they were going on the notoriety of people fucking overdosing on their product to sell more of their product. Whereas you don't get that shit if it's fucking legal. And I understand, man, you got like heroin, morphine and shit like that. That's a legitimately fucking addictive substance, man, that people can just snap to. You were telling me about you've told that story on this, man, about going into the hospital and
for the morphine. And like to this day, man, I stand by what I said. I've tried a couple different drugs. I'm not going to tell you I've tried everything. I don't think I want to try everything. But from everything that I've tried, I'm yet to experience the high again from morphine. That shit, and I mean this literally, not to be funny, but you literally feel that Superman ain't got shit on you. Like if Superman were to pick a fight with you, you'd be like, let's go, motherfucker, and I hope you can. Like, and then you take that compound of it and you add in happiness, bro, you just feel so fucking happy. Like, and I'm not saying happy like you're laughing your ass off at it. You just feel happy. Like, you feel happy, you feel good, you feel like, to me, it made me feel like I wanted to be more productive. Like, I had all these happy thoughts and I was like, holy fuck. Yeah, so I mean it's way it's different. What I was gonna say to what you were saying right now, like all of that's cool. Like well, no, let me take that back. You saying like if they were to legalize cocaine or if they were to legalize this heroin, just to put an example, the only thing that I would be afraid of with that is I would be more afraid of the actual gateway, because I'm a strong believer, like cocaine, alcohol, heroin, all those drugs. I'm a strong believer that they're gateway drugs. Like you will lead into something else eventually. And I don't think that there's a way to turn the gateway around per se. To like not for that aspect of it, like not to be there. That's also the reason why, as into like, I'm strongly for legalization of marijuana, because marijuana is just a gateway to great food and great naps, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? But with like cocaine and heroin, like nothing else good came out of like, you never heard like a crackhead, go off on a fucking week binge and go fill out job applications.
Okay,
you know what I'm
but that almost kind of goes to my point, man. Is like the only reason we had the crack epidemic was because we were getting like, all right, they were busting so much cocaine that was coming into this country that like people started cutting the coke they were selling. And the only way people didn't want to be jamming fucking baby powder up their fucking nose. So it was like, fuck, we got to cook this shit and refine it. And that's freebasing, crack. All that shit comes about from shit cocaine. Like nobody takes pure cocaine and goes, let's make rock. You just do
you sure? Because, and this is why I say this, because I get it. Like, say that you do. I don't think I've ever done pure cocaine. No, right? I haven't. But so it's kind of hard. But let's just say, right, that you do pure cocaine, uncut, like, right after it came out of the plant and it was processed. Like, that shit, I would imagine and figure that it's so good that you're just going to want more of it. And then you're going to have, like, the heroin effect, which is, like, the more pure it is, if you don't die, this is excluding if you don't die, right? But the more you have it, the better you feel. And it's the whole chasing the dragon thing. So you're going to feel great, and you're going to continue to chase that greatness. Mm-hmm. So the more pure it is, especially like you said earlier, with an experience like cokehead or whatever, they're going to want to like continue, chasing that. So more pure, it's going to be like, okay, well, I want more and more. And then you're going to end up having that like more and more. And then you have that OD, and you're more likely to have that OD because of how pure that is. You see what I'm saying? And then coke will lead to heroin, because then you're...
Well, but now how do you get from cocaine to heroin? Those are two different fucking drugs, man.
Well, let me explain. Like, cocaine leads to heroin because, you go up, and then you chase the heroin high because it kind of balances you out. And there's that correlation, man. You know what I'm saying? It's what again, I've never tried it, but it's like what they say of like they chase the speedball. People that do coke and heroin is because they get really, really, really high, and then they don't want to be that high anymore. But instead of waiting, they use heroin to kind of balance them out. And if you don't keep that balance, like balanced, is when you fucking OD. So,
well, I don't know. I don't know much about drugs, but like
Ray, you're a pure, clean living soul, and God bless you for it. We're just a couple degenerates who have seen some shit.
I mean, I've seen shit. Like I was invited to like a coke party. Not that I knew it was a coke party.
You never know until you get there. Why are all these mirrors on the table?
Exactly. That's what I walked into. Like, and it's fucking weird. Like all these people were sniffing coke, and like that's it. That's all they did. No one was talking to each other. They were just sniffing, and like
cokeheads not talking.
Yeah, and I was just sitting in a fucking corner, like all awkward and shit. Like,
well,
okay.
I don't know. I don't know if people know, but when you do a lot of cocaine, but I mean like a lot, like well into your maybe your second gram in like a couple of hours, people tend to go quiet after a while.
Too busy chewing on their own cheeks.
Yeah, you're chewing on your cheeks, and it's just like you go numb. You don't feel shit.
You're trying to listen to your own heartbeat.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny because it happens to me every single fucking time because I hate it. Y'all remember that scene in the movie Friday when Craig gets high for the first time, and then he's talking to Smokey, and then he's like, Wait, hold up. You hear that? He's like, no. What? He's like, I can hear my heartbeat. You know why that scene pisses me off? Because it's not true, man. That happens to you with cocaine. It doesn't happen with marijuana. And I don't like...
No, it happened to Alondra, man. She, like, the first time we did weed brownies...
She got really, really high.
Whoa, hold on. What did you just say? The first time you did what?
Weed brownies.
That's different. That's way different. And I'm going to tell you why it's different. I just hate the fact that I can't remember the name of the chemical. I don't know
THC?
if you know. No. I don't know if you know, but when you smoke, when your body intakes the THC, that's what gets you high, and that's it. You can just get a shitload of THC and you get really high. When you eat that shit, you eat it and then it gets processed through your liver. So because of some chemical that we have in our liver that is processed naturally, that mixes with THC and it creates another chemical in your liver. And it's kind of a I don't want to say hallucinogen because
no, it is a hallucinogen.
Is it?
It's a fucking hallucinogen, yes.
For sure. Because I don't want to put that out there if it's not.
It's a weak hallucinogen.
So, but you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it either.
Yeah, and that's because...
DMT?
It's in that same...
DMT?
No.
If I understand correctly, it uses kind of the same receptors as like acid and DMT.
It uses the same receptors as MDMA. But how did I say that right? Yeah, I did, right? MDMA. The thing in.
I know too much about drugs, man,
and not enough. Like, Google this shit. Do not take our word for it.
Yeah, exactly.
But, yeah.
Anyway, my point is that so when you eat that shit and that chemical gets produced, then it turns into like what Sean said, a weak hallucinogen. He confirmed that. So. That makes sense. Like, because she ate it, and then so that can happen. It's kind of also like when you do. I've never done it again, but when you do, I've heard when you do peyote, it's kind of the same effect.
Mescaline is a different thing. I don't remember exactly how it functions in the brain, but yeah, mescaline's a fucking weird one, man.
Yeah.
But
it's a cactus, by the way. You put it in orange juice, you drink it, and then you wait until you throw up because it tastes like shit. And then once you throw up, yeah, that's when you really go on your trip. And technically, that's how it works.
Let's be clear for anybody listening to this. If you are choosing to do hallucinogens, first of all, don't start with mescaline.
Mm-hmm.
And second of all, find somebody who knows what the fuck they're talking about. And
yeah, not us. Please don't use us as a reference.
Yeah, and get a babysitter. You need you need a spotter for some of this shit.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna do like half a gram of mushrooms, you're fine.
Yeah.
Unless you got like some super fucking receptor to it. But I've actually known people. Hell, man, the first time I ever really, really got high, I was like, that shit scared the fuck out of me, man. So like, it can it can fucking take you.
Can you hear your heartbeat though?
I was standing on a box that was about a foot off the ground.
She ate it. That doesn't count. Okay. That's why, like, you ate it. That doesn't count.
I've had auditory hallucinations on high doses of smoking before. Now, not in years. I got a fucking tolerance for it.
So to what Sean's saying, you can trip out. Like you can paranoia. You can get paranoid, but that's what it is though. You get paranoid, but that's all it is. All I'm saying is, I don't like when people, like, it's already bad enough that society holds like marijuana as like this drug that is going to make you go crazy and kill people and shit like that. So I don't like people to add shit into it that's like, you're not helping and I don't want you to help the perception if you don't want to, but don't make it sound worse, especially if you don't really know what the fuck like you're talking about. And I'm not talking about you, I'm just saying like in general, because people tend to do that, especially the people that don't use it, people that, you know what I'm saying? So like, don't do that, because if you really feel that way, or if you're really going to make people feel that way, then we can sit here and talk about Tylenol all day, and I can tell you how bad that shit is, but people are okay with it because pharma has told you that this is okay because a doctor gives it to you. Well, and people that study cannabis.
Do you study cabinets?
They're not considered doctors. They're not even considered that. They're considered fucking like sophisticated drug dealers, and it's not true, man. Like they're doctors and chemists as well. It's just, all I'm saying is like the stigma that's still behind it in 2019 is what I don't agree with. Now, if you don't use cannabis, and if you're not a user, and if you've never used it, that's fine. Like, I understand it's not for everybody, but don't bash it and put it in a light that it doesn't need to be in. That's all I'm saying.
I get what you're saying, man. Like either it's, you can tell when somebody is writing, like, you know, in a movie or something, when somebody who's like either never smoked marijuana or they don't do it on a regular basis, and they just start like, you know, oh, he was seeing colors. It was like, nah, motherfucker, you gotta smoke a shitload of fucking weed to get any sort of visual hallucination. And usually what it is just the creeping, you know, something going over here in the corner of your eye, and you go, what's that? But that's about as far as it goes, unless you're eating it, in which case you can indeed see some shit. Yeah. But you gotta, again, you still have to do a shitload of it.
And even at that, you would actually have to like eat a lot of it.
And usually it's closed eyes hallucination. Like when you'll try to like lay down and, you know, somebody will be like, dude, just lay down and go to sleep. And then when you close your eyes, all of a sudden it's like, holy fuck, what's that?
No, because we ate that shit and then fell asleep because we were like, oh, it's been like a couple hours. I don't feel shit. And we woke up high, like, weirdest feeling ever.
Theo Vaughn has a great bit about that. He's like, yeah, man. He's like, I don't smoke weed because it just trips you out. It makes me feel unnecessary shit, you know. When I smoke weed, like, I get in my head too much. I get in my head, and my head is a scary place, you know. I was in my head the other day, and it was just like, oh shit, what was that? Oh wait, it's just a thought.
There's a couple of interviews with Dave Chappelle talking about like one of the, like, why he was pissed off at what happened with Half Baked, because that was not supposed to be the movie that was not the original intention. I mean, granted, there's interviews where he basically says him and Neil Brennan sat down and wrote that shit over a long weekend because he lied to the producers and was like, yeah, we already wrote like half a movie, and they were like, cool, we want to see it on Tuesday. But he basically says like the way the studio handled the production on that movie, it was a weed movie for kids at the end of the day. You know what I mean? It turned into like this weird ass cartoon type of thing. And
didn't they have like the dog flying or some shit?
Yeah, and it was really badly done green screen.
Real close.
But yeah,
I mean, don't get me wrong. I remember watching that shit when I was like a kid. I'd maybe smoked weed like one time and like going like, "Oh, this is fucking cool." But like, you know, now the reason the movie's still funny is because of how just fucking ridiculous it is.
Like that's another thing that I trip on, because there's a lot of people say, like, when they smoke weed for the very first time, like that they have never smoked it before, and they say that they have this incredible high, like it was either like very great or very bad, you know, if you trip out or whatever.
mm-hmm.
Or you get those instances where nothing happens at all.
I was about to say that, and it pisses me off. Oh, let me add this in there because this is the whole point. And they say that your first high on marijuana is going to be your best one, and you'll never really experience another one just like it. So we go to what you said. And then, like, I remember way back in the day, I was like 14, maybe 13 years old, the first time I smoked weed. And
shout out to fucked up childhood.
and nothing happened. I remember I hit the joint 3 times, and the first, I get it. Like the first one, I didn't do it right because it was harsh. So I let it out. And then my friend was kind of like, she hit me behind the head and she was like, "Smoke it right, you're wasting the joint." You know what I'm saying? So I was like, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "No, you hit it and you hold." And I was like, "I can't hold it, hurt my lungs." And she was like, "Smoke it right or give me the joint back." So I hit it the second time, and I held it as long as I could or whatever. And then I blew it out, and then I hit it again, and nothing happened. And then I kept, you know, your rookie thing. I kept asking the people around me. I was like, "Hey man, you feel all right?" Like you. And then no, my eyes did get red. I got bloodshot red and shit like that. And that tripped me out. And I was like, "Hey, are my eyes supposed to be that red?" I kept looking at the mirror, but I didn't feel anything. And then I went on for hours, and nothing happened. Yeah. Now the second time I got high, I don't remember a lot about it, but that shit was something different. But the first time just didn't do anything. And I don't know, my whole point to that was that I don't know what it lies on. Like, why is it that if you're introducing this substance for the first time in your body, why is it? I mean, I get the fact that it doesn't know what it is, so it doesn't know what to do with it. But I mean, I don't know. It's kind of weird.
I mean, my first time being high was weed brownie, so I don't know how.
Oh, that was your first time with an edible, dude?
No, it was a different time.
No,
that was my second time.
No. That's what I'm saying. But when you first got high with marijuana, it was an edible? Mm-hmm. Holy shit, dude. I take my hats off to you, bro.
Jumped in the deep end.
Yeah, man.
Dude, I've done that shit twice. Like, the first time I've ever gotten high was like a weed edible, and then the first time I've ever done anything other than weed was fucking LSD, and like, it was a trip.
How was do you mind giving us a bit of detail on that? Because I never done that.
LSD or?
Yeah.
I like it. It's kind of fun. I'm not going to say I'm going to do it again because I'm not really that. I don't really care to do drugs all that often. But LSD it's a fucking trip. Like, you go into it and, I mean, you just have to have the right state of mind.
That's why I was going to ask. I was going to ask before you went into it, before you did it, how did you feel? What was your mood like?
Oh, dude, I was fucked up. Like, me and Alondra had gotten into like a big fight, and like I was like, well, fuck it. I was sad and shit, and I did it, and I felt like fucking awesome.
Okay, because I've heard completely the opposite. I've heard that in order for you to have a good trip, you have to be in a good mood before you go into it. Because if you're in a bad mood, you can go in a horrible trip if you do it. Yeah, I've never tried it, so I don't know.
I wasn't in a good mood.
but it went great for you.
Yeah.
So what did you feel? What was it like?
Well, there are like visual hallucinations,
Oh, fuck
and
that.
like you can feel shit.
Like what?
Okay. it's a little weird, man, but like,
just go for it, man.
all right, so I was sitting in this chair, right, and like all of a sudden, like there's like a light, and like it just started turning colors and shit, and then all of a sudden, I think she was on my lap, and like we were like having sex, but I was in the chair. My girlfriend, Alondra, and like we were like having sex while I was in the chair, but there was nobody there. So like I'm sitting there just like it was fucking weird. And my friend was like, "What are you doing?"
Did you spill something on your pants? What the fuck?
No, but I was just sitting there like just feeling it, and I was like, "This is awesome." And then for some reason it just got fucked up. And then there's like some dogs that were like walking in a single file line into a wall. Like they would walk and march, and then they would go like through the wall, like single file. And like as they would march, like they would look straight, and then they'd look at me, and look straight, and then look at me. And it was like, what the fuck is going on? And then we played Mortal Kombat, and I mean, it was like slow motion then fast, then fast.
So let me ask you this. You were on your trip, and how long did it feel that you were on the trip as opposed to how long you were actually on it?
It felt like half a day, but it was like 4 or 5 hours. I think. Maybe 6. Because like we took it at like 12 or 11 at night, and I ended up staying up till like 5. And then my friend's like, dude, you got to go to sleep. So I just went to sleep. But like I could still see shit going on. It was like I was still awake, but not. I mean, that's the only thing I'd probably try like maybe once more. But other than that, like I don't think I'd try anything else.
And I love hearing this shit like from personal experience with somebody, because it gives you a different aspect. Now with me, I'm weird, bro. Like I'm really weird. Like I can't do any drugs that are really good per se, because, and I'll explain that right now in a second, but because I have a very addictive personality. So like, if I try it and I like it, it'll take me forever to like put it down if I ever do. Hence, that's why I spent 13 years of my life drinking, right? But that's the reason as to why also I would never try crack, because I've heard that like the crack high is like awesome. So I'm afraid of that. I'm afraid that if I ever do try crack, you might find me on the street someday, and you know what I'm saying? I'm sucking dick for crack and some shit.
I need it.
So you know what I mean? But, so the other side of this shit is I also would never try drugs where I feel that I lose control of me. Like I'm the type of person that I always need to feel that I have control. So if I were to hallucinate on some shit, in a way, I feel that that's something that I cannot control. So I think that is just a horrible combination for me, and like that's a recipe for me to go into like a bad trip. And then you're telling me right now, and you're like the third person to tell me that it lasted for like 6 hours. Fuck that, bro. Like that is a full-time job. You know what I'm saying? Like that. I can't. Like the biggest example that I can give you is one time we all smoke weed, right? But I remember the first time that they put weed in a vaporizer. And you know how I was telling Sean this, you know how you hit a blunt or whatever, and you hit, and then your lungs get filled with smoke, And when that happens, like that's your cue to stop, and then the hold and like to like let go or whatever. When you vaporize that shit, you just like, I just grabbed the tube and I just kept going and going and going, and nothing ever told me to stop. So I just kept going. And then, dude, like it just hit me. And I landed on my ass, literally. And then the room started spinning, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it hit you like a ton of bricks, right?
Yeah, so I was like, I was really high, and I knew, like, because I had been high before, so I knew I was, but I was like in the clouds high. Like I felt like I could like high-five Jesus and everything, and I was good, This was a fucked up part. That I was high for too long. Because after a while, I was like, okay, like, when does this shit stop? And I remember I kept telling myself, like, I don't want to be high no more. Like, I remember asking myself, I was like, I kept telling myself in my brain, I was like, I want to be normal again. Like, and then I started wondering, I was like, am I ever going to be normal again? Like, I miss being normal. Like, I kept telling myself that. So anyway, so when I did that, in a way, not completely, but in a way, I felt like I lost control of myself, and I wasn't doing anything crazy. I wasn't, tearing up shit or anything. I was fine. I was sitting down. I was chilling. But within me, I just felt that I didn't have control, and that scared the fuck out of me. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I feel like
Well, I don't think you'd lose control of yourself, because honestly, I think I wanted to see like my girlfriend, and then like there was other shit that happened too. Like I ended up like texting this girl that I knew from like since I was in like elementary and shit, and like it kind of fucked up my trip a little bit, because like she told me some shit, and I was like, damn, like I did that. Like I felt really bad. Like basically, like I think I was trying to hit on her, but I'm not sure like what I was trying to say to her, but she got upset and she's like, dude, like you're the same guy who like fucked up my, what's it called, self-esteem. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, no, I didn't. And then she's like, yeah, you did. Like you used to call me like, fucking Predator. And I was like, well, bitch, you look like Predator. Like, she had a big ass jaw and shit, and like now, like she like got plastic surgery. And I was like, well, lucky you can fucking afford that shit. Like you should have just been like, fuck you. Like I'm the one who had the Predator braids. Like I don't know what she was complaining about, but she was like, yeah, I got plastic surgery and all this shit, and like I didn't even know she got all that, and she was like, yeah, it's your fault. And I was like, oh, okay. And then, like, shit just got really dark in the room. Like,
in the room, like, not like.
Well, I mean, I'm guessing it was in my head, because like everything like dimmed down for a bit, and then like I thought about it a little more, and I was like, wait, this is the same bitch who was like using me so she can like use my phone and text her boyfriend while also trying to act like she liked me. So I was like, yeah, fuck that bitch. And then I just started playing Mortal Kombat, and I was cool after that.
That's crazy. But you said you would never try it again?
No, I said I would, but like, I mean, shit, I'd have to do it soon, because I don't want to do it while I'm like when I start my career. So
my understanding is with my experience with LSD is very minimal. I got a micro dot from somebody, like, which is like a quarter of a full hit of LSD. So all I was getting was like the kind of emotional type of shit, and maybe like like the colors looked a little bit brighter or something. But like, my understanding is with LSD, unless you're doing like massive doses on a regular basis, you can pretty much walk away from that without too much trouble. Like
and I've heard.
No, I mean, I'm saying that I don't want to do it like while I'm doing my career, because I don't want to get like I don't want to get drug tested and then like it pop up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's I don't think lysergic acid shows up on a drug test, but again, Ray, you're a well-rounded young man. You're not a degenerate, Ray.
We're not trying to fuck you up, is what he's saying.
How the hell did you get into comedy?
Going to what you were saying, see, and I've heard completely the opposite, which is what I was going to ask you. But then again, I understand you don't have extensive use in it. But I've heard completely the opposite. I've heard that it only takes one hit, one LSD hit, and then that shit like sticks with you for the rest of your life. As far as
well, no, hold on. There's a difference between having like a life-changing experience and having it like fuck you up.
No, that's not where I was going. What I was going to say was that I've heard that you have flashbacks for the rest of your life, like in short spurts. But they say that you have flashbacks. That's one thing. Second thing is that I'm not going to say I did extensive research on it because I didn't, but the little bit of research that I do remember doing was that there's also a science behind the flashback. Basically, that doctors say that it is true because those flashbacks, supposedly the way it works is like the acid like stays in your body and then it counter reacts with like the fluid that we have in our spinal cord. We have some kind of like
I've heard that, man. Yeah. I don't believe that at all.
I haven't had any flashbacks.
Well, here's the thing.
How long was it?
I've had
like 3 or 4 years maybe.
Okay, yeah, that should have been long enough for you at least to have one.
Yeah, I have a theory about the flashback thing, or at least when it comes to hallucinogens. I don't know. Maybe there is something there that I don't understand about it, but I've done some fairly what would be referred to as a heroic dose of mushrooms before, which is like 5+ grams at a time.
Holy shit!
Yeah, I've eaten dinner plate sized mushrooms.
Ray's face was like, "Oh damn, that explains it."
Jeez, that's a lot.
This is the improved me. But it was. Let's just say here's the thing, though. I think part of what it is, or at least with mushrooms. Again, don't have enough experience with the LSD. But with the mushrooms, I think part of what it is once you it's kind of like learning a new trick. You know what I mean? Kind of like doing like the magic eye, thing where you they've got the fucked up image and then you cross your eyes and it's like, oh, I can see the duck or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's kind of like that. Like, I can stare at like a pattern and basically make it move. And it's not like, oh my God, like I'm not like driving and all of a sudden the road starts shifting on me. It's like I can do it like as a willful act. And I think a part of what it is once you've seen the pattern do that, you can kind of get yourself back to that place. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I know exactly what you're saying. So I wanted to say something with like what you were saying with the mushrooms and shit. Like I've heard, and again, I've never tried mushrooms, and like that's one that I'm on the fence about. Like I would try it, I wouldn't, and the only reason is because I've also heard like with mushrooms, I've heard that when you have. Well, they say that you have to do it more than once. You have to do it like
not true.
No. What I'm saying is, like, with what I'm gonna say, like, they say that with mushrooms you can have like a life-changing experience in a good way. Mm-hmm. Like they say, I was watching this documentary on drugs, of course. But
wait, the documentary was about drugs, or you were on drugs while you were watching the documentary?
I'm still trying to figure that out. Okay. I'm kidding. So they were saying that they're therapeutic. That's what I was looking for. That mushrooms are therapeutic. So what's going on is that they've noticed that people that have like anxiety and depression and like you've gone through like traumatizing shit like your mom being killed in front of you and like shit like that, right? So they say that in the brain, because there's something that we have that those type of traumatizing images and situations, they stick with you. And they say that there's a trend into like when people grow up that ends up impacting you in a very negative way as you grow into an adult. Well, they said that they figured out a way to like with like mushrooms, you can have an altering experience and you can have a life-changing experience by you basically like it makes you better. Like it's somehow they figured out a way to where like all that shit, like they can help you completely in a way, like forget it. And then because you've forgotten that, it no longer oppresses your like your train of thought and stuff like that. Like there was a whole detailed explanation behind it.
I could say that like I guess that's what happened with me and my friend when we were doing the acid. Like it felt more therapeutic than it did like
recreational.
Yeah. Because like as we were thinking about, like as we were just sitting there, like we started thinking about shit that we could like do with our lives. And he was like, dude, I want to create like this clothing brand. And like he came up with the design for it and everything.
Right then and there when he was sitting down.
Yeah, dude. He drew the shit up and he was like, yeah, like we could do this shit. And I was like, he's like, don't steal the name. I fucking forgot the name. But yeah, like he was like, yeah, I want to fucking come up with the clothing line. And I was like, all right, man, do it. But I don't know how he's doing, but I mean, I hope he's fine, but I kind of feel like he might have fell off the deep end because like he went hard with drugs, like.
But drugs, like real drugs, like cocaine and shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
That happens.
So I want to say something with what you're saying, and this is what I wanted to segue into, because we're comics and shit. As far as the creativity of it. Whenever because you write shit when you perform or whatever, right? No. Okay. Well, this is kind of where I'm, and maybe it works that way for you, but this is kind of where I was going with it. Like I remember, I don't do it anymore because like I have a job and shit. So I can't do drugs or what are considered drugs.
We don't have jobs.
Look. No, but well, I mean, maybe just that your job is not frowned upon, but I get randomly drug tested and whatnot. So, which it doesn't sound so random, but anyway, so the thing is, like when I used to smoke, I used to call them like my smoke sessions, because I would get like really high, like I used to get baked, you know what I'm saying? Off of a sativa. Right? I would use a sativa strand, sour diesel. That was one of my favorites. And I would smoke for about 30-45 minutes, and then I would just let it sit so like it could like concentrate in my system, and then I would just start writing. And I shit you not, bro, like there's jokes to this day. I mean, I haven't used them in a while because this was years ago, but there's jokes that I would go back and like read sober, and I could only accredit to marijuana. Like there's no way in hell that I would have ever come up with that joke if I was dead ass sober. So that's what I was gonna say. Like, does it do anything on the creative side for you, or have you ever tried writing or coming up with shit?
I've never tried writing high, because I mean I can probably count on one hand how many times I've ever smoked. But like most times I usually, like whenever I think of my jokes, it's like some shit that's either bothering me or whatnot, but like I keep it in my head and I just think about it over and over and come up with a way to help people understand like how it makes me feel, and then I just deliver it.
Yeah.
But I guess the best.
You've never done that high.
Not high, but the best way for me to do it, or the best that I've done it, is when I'm like maybe a little drunk, maybe a little high. Because I think I think I had a good night at what's that other place? Yerberia?
Yeah.
I had a good night there, and I think I was a little high because somebody was like, "Hey, you want to toke real quick?" And I took some, and then I went over there and I fucking killed it. But
see, and that's what I'm saying, man. Like that's all you needed to say for me to understand. Like, and use him as an example. There's that difference in that correlation of you, like you noticed when I say, maybe not you, but I say because you were high, you noticed that you were more on point and you were funnier. And yeah, like aside from the factor that it may loosen you up and it may like broaden you or whatever, like aside from that, but I really do feel, and this is what a lot of people disagree with, everybody from the bottom to like the conservatives on top, like they disagree where, like I say, that it really does make you creative and the other fucking word, productive and productive, because that's the other stigma that everybody has about marijuana, that you're just lazy. And Joe Rogan has the best explanation to that. It's like he says, no, you don't understand, man. Like, marijuana does not make you lazy. Like, if you're lazy when you smoke, that's because normally you're probably lazy when you're sober, and you just don't want to admit it. You want to blame it on something else. But like, and I feel the same way, dude. Like marijuana does not make you lazy. You know, the only thing that I know or that I've used that does make you lazy, and it's also because of that, alcohol. You take too much alcohol and you don't even want to move. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's because of all that alcohol, like, in your system. Now,
it's not the same effect for Alondra. Dude, she gets louder and like way more high just with some shots of tequila.
That's where I was gonna go. Same thing. That's what I was gonna say. Same thing with alcohol. When you do just enough to keep you on that borderline happy stage and stuff like that, you're fine. I'm talking about when you go through a liter of like rum or some shit, or like a liter of whiskey, and believe me, you're talking to an experienced alcoholic, so I know this shit. Like it's and also depending on your tolerance. But when you just go to like you were saying the other day with the jokes, when you kind of go to that border edge and you just kind of play with it, but don't cross it. Like, you're fine. You. That's when you're loud and you're happy and shit like that. But after a while, all I'm saying is you just kind of like, you start to come down, and you're just kind of like that. That's when you don't want to move. You don't want to be bothered or whatever.
Most people are bad at dosages, whether it's alcohol.
Yeah, because we're not certified to know how much.
Well, no, you brought up Rogan, and he talks about it, like, before going on stage, like, take like a little hit, you know what I mean? Or again, dude, we got to get a sponsorship from Rogan. Just be like, your podcast needs to sponsor our podcast.
Yeah. You're making enough money, shit.
But he talks about like taking like a little drag off of a cigarette or like a nicotine pen or something like that, and just that little bit in the system with alcohol, man. Like, I know, like, if I'm, especially before going up on stage, man, if I have like the problem is when the bartender, they make the drink stronger. But if you have like a nice cocktail, you know what I mean? Not a beer, because a beer that's a different thing, man. Like, unless
it doesn't hit you quick enough. Is what I'm.
Well, it also does other things to your system because your body's having it. I mean, it's liquid bread is what the fuck beer is, man. Yeah.
Pretty much.
That's fucking nasty sounding.
Yeah, it does, right? Like, it sounds fucked up, man. But
like, when you say it, it's actually true, because it is bread, basically.
Oh yeah, totally.
It's a shitload of yeast just going through your system.
Oh yeah, and you have the carbs, you have the yeast, you have the alcohol going in. I mean, that's the thing. Like, people, when you, I was a a heavy beer drinker for a long time, and like you start reading stuff from like Europeans, and they're like, oh, American beer is so weak, and it's like, yeah, it's also got a bunch of other shit in it. Like it's not good. Like Miller Lite is the devil's piss, but god damn it, it's delicious when you want one. What I was going to say was, man, you have like a mild cocktail where like you don't even like marijuana, nicotine, all these things, even cocaine to a certain extent, man. If you have,
I would never be able to perform on cocaine. I guarantee you that.
Rush through your jokes and shit.
that's the thing. Not necessarily, man. That's all right. Cocaine is way more difficult because it's a very potent substance. You know what I mean? As you said earlier, 2 grams is a high amount of fucking cocaine. I mean,
you're gonna be up for about a week.
Yeah. I mean, shit, dude. Fucking, you made this coffee pretty fucking strong. I'm sitting here fucking twitching just a little bit. It's like, need to keep up with this conversation. But when you have just enough in your system where you almost don't even know it, I mean, it really is edging up to that line where it's doing its thing, but it's like, dude, the best kind of like active highs where it's like, I got shit to do. I got to go out. You smoke just enough where you're like, am I high? Like you're not even sure if it's doing its thing, but it is. You know what I mean? It's you're getting that. Mushrooms are a great fucking example, man. Like a minuscule dose of like mushrooms, like
that was gonna be my. Have you ever done shrooms? Okay, so then that's something that I was gonna ask as well.
There are levels to that shit.
No, I get that. So one of the levels I wanted to talk about was when you do mushrooms and shit, like when, because the only thing that I can relate it to is like when you're smoking weed and it's a sativa. Because I don't do well with indicas, bro. With indicas, I get paranoid. I think people are following me.
I don't know the difference, man. I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, then you probably never had a sativa. I always related to that. Like people that don't know the difference. The reason being is because, especially down here, bro. I don't know in San Antonio, but down here.
I've only smoked down here. I've only done any drugs down here.
See, that's why he doesn't want to come back. He was like, I was fine before I moved here. Shit.
I was a good child.
So no.
Tell me about this parental love you speak of.
So what I'm saying is like there's a lot of fucking to that you were saying earlier. It's probably you've probably never had a sativa before, because a lot of the shit that you get down here is a lot of indica. With the indica, is the one that mellows you out, or it's supposed to, because it doesn't do it to me. It's supposed to mellow you out. It's supposed to, like, you're chill. You're just, kicking back. You're just kind of just chilling, and it calms you down, and you're good. The sativa is the one that gets you up. It kind of, you're up. You're ready to get the day started. You're like you're ready to go. You know what I'm saying? I was gonna say that. I remember one time, it was like 9 o'clock. This was a long time ago. It was like 9 or 10 o'clock at night. And I called a buddy of mine, and I was like, hey man, you got anything? Like I need something just to kind of fix me right now, and something for the morning or whatever. And so he gave me some shit, went home, and I smoked on the way from his house to my place. I got home, and I said, because again, when I used to smoke, I was just gonna chill, watch TV, and watch movies, maybe play a little video games before I went to bed, and that was it. Those were my plans. So I was smoking and everything, and I must have smoked a little less, way less than half a blunt, right? So I took a couple puffs, whatever. Driving home, got there. When I got there, I sat down. I started to watch a movie, and then all of a sudden I was like, "Oh shit! I forgot to take the shit out of the laundry." Started fucking taking out the shit out of the laundry. Then I started sweeping. Then I started mopping. I never fucking mop. I started mopping. I started cleaning my restroom. I was like, you know what? And then I was like, and then when I was folding clothes, because I was folding clothes and shit, I was like, I was doing it, and in my head I was like, why am I doing all this work? And I texted the dude, and I was like, dude, what the fuck did you give me? And he was like, what do you mean, bro? And I was like, dude, I got home, I started cleaning the whole house, and he's like, And then I remember he gave me the name of the strand, and I was like, "What is that?" And he's like, "Oh, it's this sativa." And then he finally told me, "But this is more for production." And I was like, "Dude, I told you to give me something to chill the fuck out. I didn't want to start working right now." And then I was like at 2 or 3 in the morning. I couldn't go to sleep. I was there and I was staring at the ceiling. I turned on the I was like, and I turned on the TV. I started watching TV. I got up. At fucking it was like 12 midnight, 11:30. I was watering the grass, bro. I didn't have those little fucking spinning heads or whatever. So I was with the water hose just spraying the whole grass.
For a second, I was like picturing him out there with like a cup of water, just like pouring individual blades.
You get some.
You know, seriously, man, I used to tell people this and they'd look at me like I was fucking nuts. But when I used to drink heavily, when I would drive home.
Well, you don't drink heavily now?
You've never seen me drink heavily. Let's put it that way.
Y'all killed that more than half of the bottle of vodka that one time.
Oh, half?
More than
half? If we're not counting the bottles in multiple, it was an all right night.
That shit was crazy. That was the first time I had ever seen him drunk, by the way.
Okay, you've seen me drunk, but not... I wasn't going the distance.
Yeah.
Going for speed. Actually, that's when you know I've drank too much. When I'm like, let's get some speed. What I was going to say was when, you know, because when you do drink heavily, you get a little bit sleepy. You know what I mean? Plus, you're fucking drunk. Kids, don't drink and drive unless you have to. But I'd smoke a joint on the way home if I was, because I live way the fuck out in the boonies, man. So like it's a 30-minute drive regardless of where I'm going. So like I'd smoke a joint on the way home, and what people don't realize about weed is it actually increases your heart rate.
Yeah, that it does.
And it would wake me up on the way home. Like that's how I would manage to like not fall asleep behind the wheel.
That was the only thing that it took me a while to get used to, where it would increase. Because I remember at the beginning, I was like, why is my heart beating so fast? And I would trip on that. I wouldn't let it be, you know what I mean? I was like, why is it so fast? So I would start fucking checking my blood pressure and shit, you know. Mm-hmm. I'm there at 12 o'clock at night with the blood pressure cuff, and I'm like, oh, what the fuck is going on? So, but then after a while, I understood. I was like, dude, just write it out. You're fine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. It's one of the things that pisses me off about, and again, this goes back to my whole argument that if we had legalized drugs in this country, we would, one, have better drugs, which means you don't have all this fucked up shit that goes along
with it. So
you
mean that weed could be better than what it is?
Dude, people are doing like fucking gasoline and shit. Have you heard of crocodile?
The what?
Crocodile?
Closer.
It's like crocodile. It's like heroin.
Shit they were doing.
Yes.
Melts the meat down to the bone.
Down to the bone. You got big, dude. That shit is fuck, dude. Did you see it on that documentary?
No.
They have a whole documentary on just that.
Now that's right up there with the bath salts and the spice and all that. That was somebody mixing shit up. Some fucking, you know, half baked motherfucker that barely passed a chemistry class, going like, "I'll mix some shit up in the sink."
And it's 50 times more addictive than crack. That's the sad part about it.
You know, here's the thing, man. Everybody says crack is addictive. I have known more crackheads than I care to admit in my life, and they would be doing just as much powdered cocaine or meth or whatever the fuck you gave them. It's not, crack itself doesn't have some magically addictive properties.
You think so?
I'm telling you, man. I've done the research on this.
I feel like I can push back on that, and just based on the fact that when you cook crack,
all you're doing is pulling out the impurities. That's all it does. You're just getting a purer product.
Yeah, exactly. But because you're getting a more pure product, it heightens the potency of that. Now, the only thing is that your high is shorter, so you use more. I can see that. But I mean, as far as you saying that they use,
Well, look, man, part of it is by the time you get to the point where you're like smoking crack, like you've already made some shit decisions in your life. You know what I mean?
oh, definitely.
Like, no, like, look, I've talked to people who have done like meth for like long periods of time and been fine, might not be the right word to use, but they're productive, you know, decent human beings. It's just that, you know, come Saturday morning or Saturday night, you know, depending on how they want to play that game, they'll smoke a little bit of meth and then stay up for 48 hours. Whereas the people you see on the news, you know, old Toothless Joe, fucking, you know, burn marks all over, like that motherfucker was going to make shit decisions in their life regardless.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just they found meth and that was their thing now. Like, don't get me wrong, people fuck themselves up on meth. A lot of that, again, has to do with the impurity of the substance. They just smoke so fucking much of it because what they're getting is crap. But for the most part, man, look, drugs can fuck you up, but think about the mental place you have to be in to smoke crack, to fucking, you know, go find somebody. Most people at this, you know, there's very few people out there where if you're like, dude, you want to smoke some meth? What's meth? I've never heard of meth before. Sure, let's try a little bit. Nah, man. You go, fuck it, man. I'm already a degenerate piece of shit. Let's smoke some fucking meth. You know what I mean? It's that headspace that you're in when you do the substance is definitely a factor into how you're going to incorporate that into your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So something that I'll go ahead because I wanted to ask you something.
It's something different. You go first.
Oh, no, I was just going to ask you real quick. And I mean, you can sum it up if you want, but, like, honestly, what is your perspective and how do you feel on the whole broad aspect of like, legalizing marijuana across the board?
I mean, I'm fine if they do it. Honestly, it's not a big deal to me because I don't smoke.
Well, I don't. That's a good point that you just said because you don't smoke. But like, I'll give you an example. I don't smoke either, and I do advocate. Like, I strongly advocate the legalization of marijuana. But I'll give you just quick points. The reason that as to why I do it is the financial profit. If they don't legalize it, it's still going to be here. People are still going to use it. So might as well put it to good use is what the fuck I'm saying, you know? You know
that line from Joe Rogan about...
damn it, again, we do need a sponsorship. But go ahead.
No, hey, man, look, the motherfucker is a good... This ain't even about the podcast. This is actually a joke of his about... I think a lot of people who are against gay marriage are secretly afraid that dicks are delicious. You heard that? You never heard that line?
No, that's funny though.
Right? Well, here's the thing, man. I think that is that is really an aspect when it comes to like a lot of drugs and shit. Because I've had the same conversation about legalizing cocaine with a lot of people, and they're like, "Nah, man, cocaine is horrible." It's like, I think that you secretly believe that if coke were legal, you'd just fucking, you know, blow it up all fucking day long.
Yeah. I don't think that's completely true. Like, I mean, we don't necessarily believe in gay marriage, but like we don't believe that.
Hold on.
He's hung up on the dicks being delicious. Okay.
No. Hold on. I do want to back you up a little bit. You might want to clear that up real quick. What do you mean exactly by we don't necessarily mean gay marriage is
well, yeah, like we don't necessarily believe in, like we don't believe that it should be a thing in that sense. Like they, like if, like I think they should be able to be like partnered up or whatever, like whatever you want to call it, but come up with like your own institution. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's like when like a TV show, like they come up with characters from like a comic book movie. And then they change the character gay for some odd reason or black or whatever. Like, just come up with the new character, make them gay, and that'll be that. So
kind of like Chappelle's bit about what was it? The gay cowboy.
Oh yeah, something new boots.
Yeah,
Same hero, new boots.
Same hero, new boots. Dude, if you haven't watched that on the new special. That joke was fucking hilarious.
It was.
But it was genius and hilarious.
But no, like I'm not
coming to mind. But
I'm not against like gay people getting married. It's just that like, and I'm not even a religious person. I just think that like if you're gonna like take something that's from the church, then at least come up with your own thing. Because like that's why a lot of people from the church get so upset about it.
I'm kind of with you on that aspect in that I think, all right, first of all, the whole in front of God and till death do we part, that should be completely in the church, and that should not be legally binding one bit whatsoever.
But
now,
yeah, that's what a lot of gay people want, though.
You do understand that it's not, right?
All right, it's how many people do you see going into a church and going like, let's do this ceremony, but we won't get the license?
That's different, though.
How?
It's
no. I understand how it's different, but explain how.
It's different because when you I don't want to go into detail about it because I was going to go back to what you were saying, but it's different in the way that when you go and you get married, like for Christian and religious people,
right? Like
they go into a church and anybody that really is Christian or religious or whatever, anybody that you ask is. They're going and they're getting married through the church because it's to get the blessing, God's blessing, and doing the confirmation in front of the eyes of God. That has nothing to do with going through the civil court and getting married, because there is people that choose to go through marriage through civil court and get the license and so on and so forth, because that's the legal binding agreement, and for whatever reason they want to do it. As well as there's people that only go through the church because they feel that, I'm not going to go into like exactly what they feel because I don't know. I have different views on it, but they feel or they may feel that going through a church is more important, and God's blessing alone is all they need. So that my point is that there is people that just go through the church and get married, and like that's it. They don't go and get the license because they feel that they don't need that, because that's not part of their belief. And in other words, their belief is all they need as confirmation to remain married. They don't need the civil court and civil process and so on and so forth. So it is different when you look at it that way.
Fair enough, man. But all right, the fact that we still refer to it as a marriage license is...
But that's civil. That's the court, though.
Right.
Make sure you...
Right, but if you're... Okay, you still have... To get the legally recognized status of married couple, to get the whole, we are family now thing in the eyes of the law, you have to have the license. Now, when most of the argument, or at least the reasonable arguments when it comes to to either gay marriage, civil union, whatever you want to call it, is, like, well, I can't go see him in the hospital, or like, you can't, like, in a lot of states, single people can't adopt kids. So if they want to be able to adopt children, they have to have the license and yada, yada, the filing your taxes, all that shit. The fact that we still have that kind of tied together with the idea of a marriage, which is, legitimately what it was is you drag two people in front of the church, you guilt the fuck out of them, and you go, you will be together for life in the eyes of God. And it's like, oh shit, I guess we're going to have to stop fucking other people. You know what I mean? There's the concept behind it is still not like, I fully agree, man. The church and the license are two different fucking things, man. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that, like, I don't think they should have or feel the need to get
married in a church. I mean, it is a religious.
Well, a lot of them are religious, though. A lot of them are religious, though. I mean, these are individuals that have like belief systems.
I think more are atheists as well, though.
Yeah, I've never understood atheists having any kind of fucking marriage. Just be like, you cool? I'm cool. All right, we're good.
But it's true though. I think we all three of us like hit a common ground here, where I feel the same way. Like, and this is where a lot of my point of views on this topic get misconstrued and shit, because I'm not against gay marriage. Like, I'm not against gay people being together. I'm not against gay people being gay. Look, man, we've had this conversation, me and Sean. Like, if you're gay, if you're transsexual, if you're whatever the fuck, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's fine, like, because that's you. Like, I have no right in me judging you or because I'm no better than you are. At the end of the day, we're all human beings, and I don't have a right to, like, say or make it seem like I'm better than you because you're gay. You know what I'm saying? But what you were saying earlier, like, you being married, like, is not gonna make you more certified to be gay with another gay dude or woman. You know,
more certified.
Yeah, because this is
as soon as they put the ring on, level up.
and this
is not my final form.
So this is where people disagree with me, because they say that I sound like I'm frowning upon like the gay community or whatever. But like, if you weren't married, this is my whole point. If you weren't married, are you gonna be any less gay? That's one thing. That sounds really fucked up. Well, hold on.
I'm a little confused. So I'm less gay. I don't like dicks as much as I thought I did.
Man, that wedding shit, that's just gay.
Yeah. Do you see what I'm saying? So I know it sounds fucked up, but like, really, really think about it. Like, that's what it comes down to. It feels like they need more confirmation of, like, okay, we're gay, but we need to get married to, like, make it formal. You know what I'm saying? Which I feel that if, like you were saying, with atheists, like, hey,
well, dude, all right. Think about this, man. Think about the stupid ass shit that we have around marriage as a society, like wedding rings. Like, that shit was made the fuck up. Like, about 100 years ago, they were like, you know how we sell more fucking diamonds? Fucking wedding rings.
Yeah, I told Alondra I'm never getting her a diamond.
Well, that's because
I'll get her a ring, but not a diamond.
Well, that's because you're a cheap fuck. But anyway,
fuck you. I just want something. I want something.
You're brainwashed, Freddy.
I did it.
Brainwashed.
Say what?
I want something that looks like it's from me, like it's me being.
Yeah,
created.
You want something that looks like you can afford it and shit. But
no, like everybody gets a fucking diamond, and it's like, well, I mean, if everybody looks the same, then there's nobody who's special or whatever. So. Well, that's why I want something.
So my whole thing has been like this: reselling diamonds is like fucking like useless. Like, it's kind of like a car. Once you take it off the lot, like, it devalues like almost immediately. Whereas if you got like a straight gold band, I mean, that's an investment. Like, if you got like a decent gold band, like,
because it's gold.
Yeah, like oh shit, we both lost our jobs and like we're 3 months away from getting kicked out of the house. Guess what? Those rings are going to the motherfucking pawn shop.
Yeah. No, and the other thing that a lot of people don't know is that off of like I don't even know what to call it, because I'm not a fucking jeweler. I'm not an expert.
Hey, I'm sorry, guys. I got to duck to the restroom. My bladder's about to explode.
Yeah, go for it. Like I'm not a fucking, like, I'm not an expert or whatever. But like on the jewelry shit, like, a lot of people don't know that diamonds are like one of the worst rocks that you can get.
Yeah, they're one of the lower forms.
Yeah, and they're I was watching a documentary, and there was this expert jewelry dude that he said that a lot of people don't understand that like the diamonds or whatever, they're literally worthless. Like, they're not worth anything And he said that the only reason that people buy them is because society has hyped them up to be something that they're really not. And he said what Sean just said. You're better off buying anything that's pure gold than to buying like one diamond or whatever. And people just don't get that just because of the simple stigma that has been put, behind diamonds. So that, if that's part of your argument to what you were saying earlier, like that, I understand.
Well, I mean, it's not necessarily. I like the idea of a diamond, but at the same time, like me as a person, I'd rather have like something that has like a variety that feels more like unique. Like a diamond is just like clear, see-through, or white or whatever. Like I want something that
black diamonds.
I don't want to get somebody a fucking black diamond. I mean, not to be racist or anything, but
you but like, totally fucking son of a fucking.
No one wants a fucking black diamond.
Fuck you! I wanted a black diamond.
Well, you're a dude, though. Like a dude.
No, hold on. That's why I was heading that way because of what you were saying. When I got married, or like when I got engaged, actually, I should say, the engagement ring, I got us both black diamonds. Like my ex-wife's engagement ring, I got her a 1 carat princess cut black diamond. The reason that I did it was because it was different. I was going along with what you were saying. I wanted to do something that was different, and I hadn't seen too many people with black diamond engagement rings, so I got her that. On my wedding band, I got a white gold wedding band because I don't like yellow gold. I never have. I got a white gold wedding band with black diamonds around it because, again, I wanted something to be different. But
do you hear the fruity ass shit that's coming out of your mouth right now?
Hey man, I was getting married.
Look, this is part of the argument that I haven't I've heard a couple people try to. Look, gay people should be getting married because that is literally like the fucking fruitiest, fluffiest motherfucking pansy ass shit. Fucking jump over a sword or something, man. Fucking like, how about that shit where they used to like literally tie their wrists together?
I'm gonna do that at my wedding now.
What?
Right?
Jump over a sword.
Jump over the sword. I say go skydiving, tandem style. It's like we gotta pull. Like you got like 2 fucking cords, and we both got to pull it at the same time, or we're fucking dead. Come on, baby, let's do this. Woo! Fuck. I'm just saying, man. Like, look, there is some dumbass shit involved in the way we view a union between 2 fucking people, regardless of who the fuck it is. I mean, granted, just to let y'all know, fucking, I ain't got no problem with fucking group marriages. You can get
hold on.
Like 5 people getting married at the same time, or
to each other. Fuck it, man.
Oh,
I mean, think about it. It takes a village to raise a child. Make those motherfuckers put it in ink.
I just want to go out and say that these are solely Sean's views on this part of the podcast.
Hey, they might be, man. Look, there are anthropological studies that seem to indicate that polygamy is the most, like, historically, polygamy was how most cultures got by. Mainly because most men just fucking died from, something or other. War, they got their leg cut on a piece of farming equipment and died from gangrene. I mean, if you want to talk about the religious aspect of marriage, the whole thing with, Joseph and Mary that's a Jewish tradition. A young girl fucking doesn't have a husband. She has a kid. You find some motherfucker in the village that doesn't have a wife, and you marry her off to him. That's how the fuck that happened.
That's how they did it in like the old days or whatever.
Man, they did that up until the 1950s. They're still doing that in parts of the world right now, man. Yeah. The Bedouins got some crazy shit going on.
I was watching this documentary or whatever on marriages and like in this was back in 2016, I think, or 2015. That's what they're called. These brothels. So you have a daughter, right? I'm not saying you have a daughter, but an example. You have a daughter, I have a daughter, and then what they would get as a birthday present on their 14th birthday, I think. Her father,
A giant rubber dildo.
no, yeah, even better. Her father,
The King Dong.
for her birthday, would build her a brothel and gave it to her, and that was her. So then they would bring other kids or men, like men that would pay this money, and they would, like have sex with the little girl, because that's what the fuck she was. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it for you. Like they would have sex, and then what would happen is whoever really liked her the most per se and give like the most money, they would like end up marrying that person or whatever. And then after that, like if they chose to, like she could still continue to run like the brothel or whatever. And that was like a whole ritual to marriage. The only catch to it was that whoever did marry her, whether the guy was 14 years old like her or 30 or whatever the case was, had to support her fully. Had to give her everything she needed, like supply all her needs and all that shit. And this was an actual, it was a whole marriage ritual and stuff like that. And this was legal. And like I said, this was like in 2014. Given, like Sean was saying, it was a remote village somewhere in the middle of fucking nowhere where very little technology was still around and shit like that. But
there's a culture in I forget what the name of it is, man, but it's a region of China where basically they build the all right, you know what a hacienda style house is, right? Where the house is built around a courtyard. Well, think about that. Only from all of the bedrooms, there's a door that leads to the outside. So basically, every bedroom would have their own entryway into the house. And the idea was once a girl came of age, she could invite whoever she wanted into that fucking bedroom without, they don't have to walk through the house. They literally just walk straight from the outside into her bedroom. And mom and dad have no fucking say over it. It's, don't get me wrong, I'm sure there's some custom in there. But the basic idea is once she achieves, sexual maturity, she makes the decision as to who comes into that room. You know what I'm saying? And then she decides to get married, then they build their own house and do the same thing for their kids. Then you have the old, I forget what the fuck the term was for it, but you had the temple virgins, where basically when the girl achieved sexual maturity, they would basically send her kind of like what you're talking about. She'd have to go to the temple, and it was a brothel basically, where she could not get married until a man paid for her to have sex with him. She had to get somebody to give up some cash before she could go get married. Not that she was going to marry that guy that fucking paid to have sex with her, but that idea of the only way that she can prove her worth as a woman was to, and these are all fucking retarded fucking practices, but the idea that we've gotten much farther as a society today than that, we still do some dumbass fucking shit, man. We just want to fucking sugarcoat it and act like, oh, well, we're more enlightened. No, man, we still have these dumbass ideas about how we should behave sexually.
And again, a lot of people disagree with me, but I lean on the fact that
you just heard me say this dumbass shit. You're going to talk about people disagreeing with you?
Well, with what I'm going to say, a lot of the reasons as into why we still hold on to these customs, even in the churches, man, especially in the Catholic Church and shit like that, we don't want to let go of them because there's just too much money involved. So if you let go of a lot of these customs, you're kind of saying, I'll let go of a lot of this money, and we're just not going to do that.
Well,
I just found out recently, and I already forgot how much it was, but do you know how much money goes in just into making a proper first communion in the Catholic Church? That's a shitload of fucking money. And then there's classes that you got to take like before the actual thing, and then there's another thing before the classes. Like, and I was like, and again, we go back to the same thing. It all just comes back around to money and shit like that. So that's the reason as into why I feel you like people will not let go of certain traditions. It's not, and I hate saying this because I don't necessarily want to shit on other people's beliefs, but it's really not because, oh my God, I believe and this is my tradition and it's my belief. Today, in this day and age, I really do feel that it's no longer about the actual tradition. It's just the money that you can like get out of it and so on. But I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Speaking of traditions, I have this situation that happened like a few weeks ago. I got blocked by my sister, right?
Oh, and you told me about that. This is
yeah, I did. No, it still doesn't make sense to me how like someone could be like so upset and be the person that they are. So basically,
is a strong motivator.
Yeah.
But
we're at war because of that.
I feel like she's one of those like, oh, I'm super pro black. Like black is the only.
Is that
thing.
even a thing?
It is. Like I've found a lot of people like that. Like there's this one kid who's
so because I feel that you should have equal rights and not be treated less than. Does that make me pro black and pro Mexican?
No.
So that's what I don't understand. I've been bluntly told that to my face. I've been told, dude, it's because you're pro-black, and the sad part is that you're not black. And I was like, no, dude, you don't understand. I'm a minority, technically, and you don't understand what it's like to be judged off of.
Well, who told you that?
A couple different people. I say a couple different people because it was more than 3. You understand what I'm saying? So, I just have a thing of like, dude, the only thing, and this is what I tell everybody, the only thing I'm against is I'm against you not getting something based on the color of your skin, because that's something that you have no fucking control over. Like, I wasn't born and I was like, yeah, Mexican. You know what I'm saying? I didn't press a button and came out Mexican. You didn't choose to be black. Given, you know, I'm very proud to be fucking Mexican. I wouldn't change it for the world. But it's not. It pisses me off. That's the only concept. Like the fact that we're in 2019 and that this is still a problem. You being denied a job because you're black or because you're Mexican. Or you being denied, or you being treated differently because and it happens. So I was going to use an example, but it even happens like with white people too. You know what I'm saying? I was going to use an example, but I slipped my mind.
Well, I mean, I feel like the reason you were told that down here is because a lot of people are ignorant, and I mean, I'm not trying to like diss the valley or anything, but there are like so many ignorant people down here. Like it's ridiculous because like I have people like Hispanics, they come to me and they try to like call me the N-word, like I'm cool with that shit, and it's like, no, dude, like I don't, just because you say it around your friends, they're like, oh, I grew up saying it. It's like, I don't give a fuck what you grew up saying. Like, don't say that shit to me. Like I'm not with that. But
you gotta remember too, man. Like probably like what you're like 24, right?
25.
All right. Yeah, about the same thing, man. In the 90s, man, like, you know, you still hear people say shit like, oh, the Valley's like 20 years behind, which we're not. We just had this conversation with Bobby. Like, we're actually farther ahead than a lot of areas in the country now because of various situations. But literally back in the 90s, man, this was a backwards motherfucking corner of the country. This was like, it was ridiculous how underdeveloped, not just like infrastructure wise or, what was available or technology, like just mentality wise, this place was ass backwards. So yeah, we got some ignorant motherfuckers down here.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like maybe y'all are still like 5 years still, because I mean, there's some people they'll give me weird looks. Like I get stared at a lot, especially downtown. Like they'll be like, "Oh, like the black dude." It's like, what? You haven't seen a black dude? Because I've seen a few now. Like I've been here 7 years, and I've seen at least like 5. So come on now, there's more than just me.
Yeah. I actually experienced.
It's a matter of concentration too, man.
I actually
that was like I want to say maybe early 2000s. There was a large church congregation that moved down here. I want to say it was like it was a Christian denomination, but it was like Nigerian, like first, second generation. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
You would see them like doing like the bake sale type of shit, like, like selling stuff like at like the mall or stuff like that. For like the first year or so, it was like, holy shit, we actually have black people down here now. But then it diversed out, I guess. And then after Katrina and all that, you know what I mean? It's been slowly, it's like I said, concentration, man. Like,
and you'd also be surprised, man, because the black people down here, they're totally different from black people everywhere else. Like, black people down here are weird. Like, we have, like, black people up north, like, we have this thing to where, like, if you see a fellow black person, you're like, oh, what's up? Like, you just say hi to them, just to say it, like, acknowledge that, like, you're not alone. But, like, when I've met pretty much majority of the black people I met here, they're all like, I say what's up, and they just look at me like, I don't know you.
But I think that's a valid thing, because I think that happens with everybody.
Yeah,
like I've nodded, like I've nodded at some people, and they just kind of like, I've nodded at people, and they made me feel like I flipped them off.
I was gonna say that, man. It's with certain folks, it's almost an aggressive move.
Yeah,
like you can make eye contact, but like if there's any like physical acknowledgement of another human being in your presence, I don't understand what that is.
And it's funny that you say that, but it, like, I experienced something very similar even today, like with my whole disability, like to this day, I still get the stares at the store, you know what I mean? And I get it when it's like a kid, because they're a kid, they don't know what the fuck is going on. They just, all they see is that he's different from me, you know what I mean? But when you get the stares from like a grown ass man, that's like when it's like, hey bro, like, have you not ever seen somebody, you know what I'm saying? Which is fine. Like I don't, it doesn't do anything for me anymore. But it's funny because, like, I was telling Sean the other day, it happened to me when I was at AutoZone, and this kid, I was walking in, whatever, and as I'm walking in, this kid's walking towards me, and he was looking at me, like he was staring like dead at me, and as I walked by him, I literally hear him. He was walking next to his big brother, like his older brother. And I heard him where he leaned over and he was like, hey man, what's wrong with that guy? And his brother just kind of didn't say anything. And he's like, why does he walk all fucked up and shit? And this kid this kid was like 8, 9 years old maybe. And he was like, yeah, like, why does he walk all fucked up or whatever? And I actually wrote a bit about it, but that's actually what happened. Like, that was the true part of the bit or whatever. And I, like, again, him, I understand, because maybe that, like he just doesn't understand, like, the way it works or whatever. I was gonna tell you, like, with you, I've experienced the other side of it, where like, I was at the mall with one of my friends, and she has a 4-year-old, And we're in the food court, we're eating whatever. And this tall black dude comes in and he sits on the table next to us, and she's just like staring. But she's staring, honestly, bro, like she's got this horrified face. Like she was like, and then I looked at her and I was like, "Hey, babe, don't stare," you know. And that's what I told her. You know what I'm saying? I was like, don't stare. It's not polite to like stare at people. And she was just like, she wanted to keep looking, right? So then this is what I wasn't cool with. Like then she, like the little girl, she said out loud, she said, "Mommy, what's wrong with that person?" And she pointed, right? And then she got embarrassed and she was like, "Don't say anything." And she kind of just moved her hand out of the way, like push it or whatever. And then she's like, the little girl said, "Why is he dirty?" Right? That's what she said. And I knew what she meant, because like the little girl, she had never seen a black person in her life before, right? So then I told her, I was like, "Look, babe, like he's not dirty. People were different, but I'll explain to you later when we get in the car or whatever." This is what I was not cool with. She heard her say that, her mom, right? And then when we got in the car, she just like went off on the little girl, right? And she was like, "You don't do that, and that's embarrassing. You're not supposed to stare at people. People are not dirty. Like you shouldn't do that." Like she was hammering this 4-year-old. So what I had a problem with, I asked her before I went off on her. I was like, "Have you ever had this conversation with her before at all?" And she was like, "No, because she's never seen a black person before." And I was like, "Why don't you try explaining to her first before you like treat her like shit?" And because now you're just gonna confuse the shit out of her, and she's not gonna understand what's going on, and you're making it worse.
I mean, she's right to be upset. I mean, like that's.
Wait, what do you mean she's right?
I mean, it's kind of like how the fuck do you like? That's something that you learn, like. Because you don't just say, "Oh, someone's dirty" just because they're brown. Because I mean, I'm pretty sure she's seen a black person before. Like,
no, she hasn't. That was my whole.
Well, I mean, there's TV.
The little girl.
Yeah, there's TV. They've been out in public. Like, it's hard to not see one, at least within a year.
Yeah,
I think if the kid was like 6 or 7, yeah, at that point, it's like, what the fuck have you not been exposed?
Yeah, but in San Antonio, like,
that's
shit, we don't. Like
San Antonio, there's a bigger diversity of population.
I mean, I get that, but still, like, what if she saw a Mexican person who's like a little darker? Like, I don't think she would say that person's dirty as well. Like, I feel like it's something that she probably heard a friend say.
Actually, man, again, this goes back to the Valley kind of being a little bit ass backwards in certain places. I have heard that exact statement, like from talking about like dark skinned, like, you know, Mexican hunter and, you know, whatever, man. Yeah. Like, yeah, that comes up.
My whole point to that example was like, my point was that that's the problem. Like, as parents or as people, like, we're not having these dialogues with other people and kids. I think that if we were to have these dialogues without having a certain bias or a certain stigma with things, whether it's racial relations, sex, or fucking or gender and fucking gay people and shit like that. If you don't have these dialogues, like, that's why people don't understand. And then you trickle this down to kids. And I feel, and again, people disagree with me, but I feel that that's how you create racism. Because to a kid, this shit was never explained. And then when they grow up, they just see around them hate because he's black, hate because he's Mexican, or because he's white or whatever. And then that's the only thing that they pick up. But there was never this dialogue on like, this person is different, but they're like, it doesn't make them any less because they're different and everything. They're just we're all different. And I think
let me ask you this though, Freddie, man, like based on like your friend's response to that, like you think maybe she had a fucked up conversation, like maybe the explanation she got was probably not that extensive?
No,
because I mean, to have like that's a visceral reaction to like be yelling at a kid, like instead of just like kind of explaining to the kid. I mean, I wasn't there.
I get.
Well, I mean, I'd be upset if my kid did some shit like that. Looked at a white person and is like staring at them like that. Like that's a strange reaction from a child.
Not really, man. Kids, I've gotten that response from kids before. I laugh my ass off because it's kids, man. Like, don't get me wrong. If it's like
I mean, it's
like the 8-year-old going, like, "What the fuck is wrong with Freddy?" I mean, be like, first of all, why is that kid using a random F-bomb at 8?
Well, I mean, it didn't that didn't bother me so much. Like him being like, "What the fuck is wrong with him?" And he's only 8.
8 is old enough to smack.
Yeah, well, I get it.
4, not so much.
Yeah, but I get that. The reason that I get it is because where society is today. Had this been 15 years ago, then I'd be like, why the fuck is this 8-year-old using that language? But today I get it. But in your situation, not your situation, but what we were talking about.
This fucking guy. Well, no, I'm saying it's strange. Like, she had a strange reaction. So, like, me as a parent, I'd be upset because I'd be like really embarrassed if my kid said some shit. Okay, like that.
You got to ask yourself at that point, what conversation are you not having with the kid that they have that response to anyone?
So that's my point. My point is, you may feel uncomfortable, you may feel embarrassed, but I feel that you're not entitled to feel that embarrassment if you did not have this conversation with the kid beforehand at some point. Now,
no, but sometimes people like they get offended very quickly. Like, I had this situation where this customer came in and they're like talkative, and there's a customer behind them going to another register, and he said that he was they're saying, "Oh, he looks like he's Ethiopian," and he's like, "I'm not Ethiopian," and then he's like, and then I guess the son, he's like, "Oh, like he said, well, people down here are less educated, so like sometimes they get offended by things that are like not so
I understand what you're saying,
not so important." And then the guy's like, "Oh, I'm well educated and all this shit," and he just I'm not fucking Ethiopian. It's like, dude, like, why did you even get upset in the first place? Just let them say what they say. And
hey, man, hick's like, gonna hick. You know what I mean?
It's like that guy in California.
Well, no, they were the lady was like, I think she was black, and I don't know if the son was. He looked like he was
I've met hicks of all shapes. I've met rich hicks. Yeah, man, it's mentality, man. It's there's conversations that aren't being had, and they just kind of assume that what they're doing that's just how life goes, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, that's why, like, I wouldn't get upset at like a 4-year-old if they had that kind of response to anyone.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm genuinely, I've laughed when other people's kids have had like weird responses, because it's like, and when the parent, I mean, granted, it's fucked up, man. The parent shouldn't be yelling at their kid for something that they haven't explained to them, but like watching that response of people realizing.
That's what I had the biggest problem with, like her going off on it, because I felt that the kid is not at fault. Like, I felt here you failed as a parent because you
can't say that one.
Yeah. No, and I told her, because I mean we're friends, you know, and like that's just the way I am, you know. And I told her, I was like, I felt that the one that fucked up here was you. Now, I'm not telling you how to parent. The only thing is that the biggest problem here is that you're going off on somebody that does not fully comprehend the magnitude of what just happened. First of all. Second of all, even when you explain it to her right now, she's still not going to fully comprehend what you're going to explain, no matter what way you put it. She can get the idea of what you're saying, and that's the only thing I'm mad about. That at least give her the idea so that she knows, okay, like I can. And then as she grows, you continue to cultivate that idea. And again, I bring it full circle with my original argument. I feel that these conversations they're not happening. So then you let this kid, for example, just grow, and then you let them experience the idea of like what a black person is, or a Mexican person is, or a white person is from the world's point of view. And I feel that that's the recipe, or one of the biggest recipes to like racism, because we all live in this world. The world ain't gonna fucking tell you.
Well, also, man, there's a natural response where, like, if a kid asks a question and you give them like a hostile response, all of a sudden they start associating the question with being like the offense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's like, no, we don't ask those questions. Like, no. You can ask questions. That's not the offensive part. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But just to bring it back full circle, I feel like
we never got around to, you were talking about your sister and like how that, I was actually going to bring up, man, you want to talk about some fucked up shit. We were talking the other day about that whole Lord of the Ring thing.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the Book of Invasions?
No.
That is it's the oldest historical document of Ireland. And it literally states in there that the original inhabitants of Ireland were muddy fish people. Now, that makes no goddamn sense if you read it until you actually know the history of that area and you realize, oh, they're talking about North African, like, fishermen. That is the exact, yes. I had just
muddy fish people.
Yes.
Okay. That's fucking stupid.
Yes, it is. And that is a historical document.
But yeah, no, like I feel like she like took things like overboard, because I didn't feel like it was necessary to get upset with me when I hadn't even seen the comment. Like, I hadn't even seen what my cousin had said. And I mean, like, I'm upset with him because like he shouldn't be saying shit like that. But at the same time, like I'm not gonna fucking like, I'm not gonna blow it out of proportion, because I know like he's like fucked up in the head. Like, he's kind of.
This all started. You put a meme up, right?
Yeah, it's like I'm not afraid to post the Holy Trinity or Holy Trilogy or something like that. And she's like, oh, like, yeah, the movie with no black people in it. It's like, bitch, I don't fucking watch movies just because black people are in it. Like, if that was the case, I'd only watch Black Panther and be upset because I don't like it as much. Like,
I think we had that conversation last time you were in a couple months back.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a good way to put it.
I mean, seriously, that's the only like decent Marvel movie that has like all black people in it, and there's like, I think like 2 white people in it, or no, there's like 3 or 4. But I mean, still, like, it's like, I don't watch movies just because black people are in it. And I really like the Lord of the Rings trilogy, even though, like, I feel like you can't put it past the guy who fucking wrote this book in the early 1900s and say, oh, he's not racist. Like, he just purposefully didn't put any black people in there because, like, there was no.
There was a little bit racism.
No,
involved.
I'm saying that, like, there has to be at least some, because I mean, none of the good people are brown skinned, like, none of them.
Yeah, literally the entire like dark skinned races in that book it's all tied in with the evil ones, and you're going, Jesus, man.
Yeah, and then even the way that they have the orcs, like, they have like the flat noses, like the flat white noses, like Africans, and then the dreads and shit. Like, you can't say that's not. Well, I can't say that it's not like a derivative of black people. Like, I know that like a lot of times in like books that are from the past, like they're pretty facetious about like their racism. Like, they poke it in there, but they don't say it outright all the time.
Yeah. If you're familiar with Rudyard Kipling.
No, I'm not a big reader. But
I can tell.
Not big on this whole.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to throw it in there, didn't you? Now, Rudyard Kipling's the guy who wrote the Jungle Book, and
Really?
yeah, that's.
I just learned that today.
I don't know if
The book. He was the one that wrote the book.
yes, Rudyard Kipling.
The original.
Yes,
Okay.
the stories of Mowgli and Bagheera and all that shit.
Yeah.
And I I'll be honest, I get a bit of a what's not Schadenfreude, what's the other one? Basically an evil little kick out of it because he's really a great writer, and his poetry is what I'm mainly into. He's got one called The Female of the Species that is just sexist as fuck, but kind of fucking true. It's all about basically like a man will kill you, but a woman will fucking torture you first. You know what I mean? What's the I'm trying to remember who does Bill Burr does that joke. It's
yeah.
I'm sorry, I looked at you as soon as he said that. Yup.
I did. I was gonna say something, but I was like, maybe it's a coincidence.
Just remember lawyers might be listening.
Yeah. Thank you, Ray.
But no, when I introduce people who've never heard of him before, I'll be like, here, read this poem by this racist. And it's like, the guy wasn't like one of these, like, we must, keep the white race. He wasn't one of those racists. He was literally a racist in that he believed that there were quintessential, traits, imbued upon a human being by race, which is, I mean, seriously, at this point in time, anybody who actually believes that the concept of race is a real thing is just fucking retarded. But
I've been trying to
read a goddamn book. Look, we have genetic differences as human beings, but that's
that have read countless books, and they still. That's the other thing that staggers me is like there's people that have read like countless books and
they're still dumb as shit.
Yeah.
And they'll argue with you because they think they're smart.
Yeah. No. And fuck that. I'm just saying the fact that they still like they're supposed to be this intellectual person and they're still stuck on the stigma that like you're less because of a race, basically. And I don't get it. I don't get it. And I'm glad that I don't get it because I'm glad that I'm not stuck in that mind frame. Like, it's just crazy.
But that's how I feel like my sister was being in a sense. Like I feel like she had like a little bit of a racist agenda because like that wasn't the only occasion.
Racist agenda.
Well, yeah, because like that wasn't the first instance where she's like, oh, like it's all white people. It's like I didn't even like. But when I posted it, I wasn't thinking, oh, I like this movie because there's only like white people in it. Like I was thinking, like I like this movie because it's badass. Like it's a long journey.
It's like the question that I always get, like with me when it comes to sports. He's like, why do you always watch basketball so much and like talk about it all the time and like make these lives, motherfuckers? I like basketball, but like now that people have talked to me about it over and over, I've noticed that they no longer make it directly like that. They're trying to say that like technically it's a black sport because that's what they're getting at is what I'm saying. So, but even now with the conversations that I have, it's like I've had people tell me, it's like, dude, I feel that sometimes you wish that you were black. And I was like, what? First of all, what gives you that dumbass idea? I'm intrigued to know. And that's the first thing to say. You love watching basketball. You love watching boxing. And
do black people watch a lot of boxing?
No. That's not.
I don't know. I don't know why I'm asking you.
I'm not kidding, Ray. I have had people again growing up in the valley, man. I've had people tell me I am the blackest person they know, which is confusing on a whole nother level.
You like playing dominoes. What's the other one? Me, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, like you like playing dominoes.
It's fun. It's math.
Yeah. That's not where I was going with it, but okay. But yeah, they told me you like
Black people don't like math. I don't even know why that's a thing we do.
Yeah, it's like you like playing dominoes, and then the other one was then they go into like my food choices, right? So, and I eat
Do
a
you
lot
carry
of
hot sauce in your purse?
yeah, but
that was a
that's not
Hillary Clinton joke. Just move past it.
No, I was gonna say because I used to carry my own hot sauce, but yeah, in my car. But anyway, but my point is, I hate the fact that why isn't it that why can't I just enjoy basketball and you know what I'm saying, like I watch it for the sport and because that's what fucking really intrigues me, and I love boxing because I love the sport, and now in today's age you always have to like something because it's related to something else that brings it back to having some kind of stigma. And it's like,
sucks.
Yeah, it's like the same thing with you. Like, you can't watch this movie because it's a good movie or it has too many, like, perfect example. The other day, well, not the other day, this was a couple months ago, I posted on Facebook. All I said was, Schindler's List is a great fucking movie.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I'll argue with you on that, but go ahead.
And I got this shitstorm. It's like on how like Jews were treated and they were killed, and I was like, dude,
isn't that like isn't the emotion you feel supposed to make them? Isn't the emotion that you feel like supposed to be like what makes the movie good or bad? Like if you feel something, then like it's definitely. It has some kind of impact on you. That's like the point of watching a movie.
Yeah. But I mean, like all of a sudden, because I said that, it's like I now support, you know, all other negative.
Man, you got some dumbass friends. Like
I do, man, and that's why I keep to myself. And it's like, fuck, like it's just. But I'm just saying, like I feel you. It's like another movie that I liked a lot, and it's more modern, and I feel like it was more. They kind of like got it, and I can see it. It is Django. I thought Django was a good movie. Now, it wasn't a good movie because of like the real concept. I mean, it sucks. You know what I'm saying? Like slavery, and I get it, but my whole point is. Just because I like the movie and I feel that it's a good movie, I'm not saying that I fucking support people in chains. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
exactly what I was gonna say. Like, damn, if I said I like Django, is she gonna say I like slavery? Yeah. Like, I can't say that movie's badass.
Hey, I've gotten the opposite side of that argument because I had arguments with people about like I thought it was kind of weak as a Tarantino movie. Like I like the movie, but it's like. All right, like I thought The Hateful Eight was a much better movie.
Still haven't seen that yet.
Oh, dude, that movie's bad, bro.
Somebody was bringing up how they don't have good westerns in anymore, and I was like, have you not seen The Hateful Eight? Like that is just it's a good film, man. If you like
you need to watch The Hateful Eight, and you need to watch the other one with Denzel Washington.
Isn't that The Hateful Eight? Oh, Magnificent Seven.
Haven't seen that one.
That oh, dude, those two movies. Well. If you like westerns, and if you like, there's nothing that's ever gonna match up to like Young Guns and all that shit. I'm not saying that.
Well, it's a different type of western.
Yeah, true. It's modern and shit, but it's good. Like the way they made it and everything, like the direction and all that shit, it was good. But yeah, dude, it's like if you watch a movie. Hey, let's flip it all the way around. If you watch a sadistic movie like fucking Saw,
I don't like those.
I don't. I liked it. It's fine. I liked it because it was. I felt, personal opinion, it was a creative plot. But I don't support fucking people getting chopped up and fucking shit, and like I just like the fucking movie. And all I'm saying is, it feels like in this time and day and in this climate. You can no longer like something, because if you like it, you automatically support it, and I can't.
Yeah, I told. Oh,
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
I told my lesbian neighbors, the ones that were bitches.
Yeah.
I told them that I liked watching.
Just to be clear, they were bitches for other reasons.
Yeah. No, they were bitches because they were lesbians. No, like, no, they're pretty shitty people. But no, I told them that I liked watching like serial killer documentaries and like the mockumentary movies and shit, and like scary movies or like slashers and shit. And they're like, oh, like. I think for some reason, one of them asked me a question like, if something happened, like if like you were in a situation, like, would you kill this person or not? And I was like, yeah, I would. Like, if they like if there was a situation where somebody like hurt somebody that's like really close to me, I mean, it's possible that I might like I'm not gonna be like, oh, like I'm not gonna kill you because you killed my brother or some shit. Like that's. I don't know. I find it weird, like, when people are like, oh, like, I wouldn't kill anybody. It's like, well, I mean, then you don't really care about anybody.
Y'all remember that movie Hostel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I was watching a piece of it before I fell asleep last night.
Okay, now you're scaring me a little bit. But seriously, though, man, that's a fucked up movie. I would never watch it again. But the ending of that movie where he fucking just murders that dude in the fucking bathroom, the catharsis of that was like the whole movie. I'm just sitting there going, Jesus, why am I fucking watching this? And then it got to the end and I was like, good for him. Like, it just that moment of
and
like,
then the second one fucks it up and he fucking,
yeah,
he gets killed anyways. Yeah. And it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was a cash grab. Like, you could tell, like, I kind of felt at the end of the first one, it was like, that was it. You just leave it there. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need we don't need to know anything more.
Yeah, that first one was really good. I think the second one was, like, okay. And then, didn't they make, like, a third?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a third one.
I don't even think Eli Roth was involved in the sequels.
I only saw the first and the second one.
Didn't they remake, what was it, Cabin in the Wood, or Cabin Fever? They remade it like a few years ago, and it's beat for beat the same shit, but for some reason it's shittier. Like,
well, because it was a remake.
No, it's not because it's a remake. It's
I think they missed the point, man. Because the first one there was humor there. There was like this tongue in cheek, almost cartoonish.
Yeah, like a dark comedy.
Yeah.
There's only very few.
I still remember that little fucking, like, the little retarded kid is like, pancakes.
Fucking he bit my fucking hand. Like,
there's only one remake. Yeah, there's only one remake that I can say that I like, and I liked it better than the original. And ever since, every other remake that they've made of anything else, that's why I've always been against remakes. But Scarface is the only remake that I liked. That was like it was.
Now, technically speaking, much different films.
Yes, that's where I was going. First of all, they're different, but people forget that it was still a remake, and I do feel that it was De Palma, right? Brian.
Yeah, Brian De Palma.
Brian De Palma did a great job of remaking that fucking movie, and I just loved and I liked it better than the original. But yeah, I've always been against remakes or whatever. My point is that there's only, even if you do make a great remake, there's only so far that you can go with it before you fuck it up. And this was my point with it. Ever since I heard, and I hope that it doesn't happen, but ever since I heard that they're trying to remake the remake of Scarface again with Johnny Depp, I've been
Johnny Depp.
Yeah, I've been completely fucking go home and Google it or whatever.
Nah.
But I've been completely against it, and I just fucking feel that they're gonna like kill a classic. That's why I'm also against the fucking remake, or it's not even a remake, it's a sequel. They're selling it as a sequel. The sequel to Coming to America. I feel they need to leave
They're
it.
doing it. They're making another one?
They're making a sequel. I've already read the plot, dude. Like I read the plot and like what it's supposed to be about. And first of all, I'm not gonna watch it. First of all, second of all, it's gonna completely shit on. I mean, Coming to America is a classic, and I think they're gonna shit on it. He's supposed to come back to America. 'Cause that's what the movie's about. And he has an illegitimate child with somebody else, some shit like that, something like that. I stopped reading after the.
Is it the lady with no body parts? That would be awesome.
I don't know, but it's something along those lines. But I read it and I was like, don't do it. But Eddie Murphy already confirmed, and it's coming out. It's gonna be released in the middle of 2020, I think.
Well, I mean, at least we'll get to see Eddie Murphy on screen again. I haven't seen him in a long time.
Dude,
all I want to know is when is he going to do the sequel to Norbit? No, nobody.
No.
Okay.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, no.
Legitimately though, I think that movie got way more hate than it was deserving of. It was not a great movie,
But it wasn't that bad.
it was better than the Clumps. I mean,
yeah,
Clumps.
I agree. The Clumps,
Yeah.
Nutty Professor, the Clumps.
Wait, they made a part 3?
They made
a.
No,
they made a spin-off of the Nutty Professor that was just about the family.
yeah.
Yeah,
You never seen it?
No, I've never
Where the
even heard of it.
What the? Where the fuck?
It sounds like a
have you
Mario
been?
Brothers.
you are
fucking.
you are better off in this life having never heard of it.
Okay.
It's one of those.
Is he in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he plays all of them.
Yeah.
No fucking way.
Yeah.
You guys are lying.
No, dude. Yes. How the fuck have you never heard of the Clumps?
I've never heard of it. I thought it was. I thought you guys were making up shit.
No, no. I
Google
wish.
it.
I wish.
I wish we were making it up. No, go home and Google it.
Yeah, now I kind of gotta see it though.
It might ruin your life in a way. Anyway,
Never mind.
so
By the way, did you all catch that? I don't watch SNL very often. I usually catch it on like YouTube, but they were doing a Meet the Press spoof about like Jeff Bezos, all those pictures of his penis coming out,
yeah,
and it was like some serious people sitting around the table, and there's just like Leslie Jones was like playing the one character. It's like, why are we talking about this? It's like the other two are like, so do you think his penis is going to be splotchy? And he's like, well, he's a rich man. He can afford mineral oils and like.
Back to the Eddie Murphy thing. You just want to see him on screen. I'm still waiting on one more hour, bro. I need one more hour of Eddie Murphy stand up. I'm waiting on that. Like he said, there was talks. Like he said it himself that he was open to doing it, and there was a whole thing. I don't know if you saw it. I've told this to Sean before. They actually pranked TMZ, pranked Dave Chappelle. They caught up to him on the street or whatever, and he was like, "Hey, Dave, did you know that Eddie Murphy is planning to do an hour special?" And he was like, "Ah, fucking A, man." And he said that he would like for you to open for him. It's like, would you open for Eddie Murphy? And Dave was like, he wants me to open for him. He's like, fuck yeah, I would open for Eddie Murphy. And then the other reporter kind of, no, like, we're just fucking. Well, they didn't say they were fucking around, but he was like, oh, we're just joking or whatever. And Dave just turned around and he's like, wait a minute. Are you joking about the special or are you joking about me opening for him? So he's like, no, we're joking about like you opening or whatever. And Dave literally turned into, you're a dick for doing that. Yeah, but Dave, and you could see in his expression where like he was genuinely thrilled to like, he was like, fuck yeah, I would open for Eddie Murphy or whatever. But yeah, there's been talks about it that he would do an hour. But I'm waiting on that. Now that, to me is a more fucking like I'll jump on that shit, but Coming to America too.
I mean, pretty much all of the movies that he's done lately have sucked. I mean, didn't he do one where he was like some babysitter or some shit or a driver?
Daddy Daycare?
No, that was him.
Yes.
I thought that was Cuba Gooding Jr.
No. Cuba Gooding Jr. did the knockoff sequel.
Yeah, the Daycare. And the only reason that one came about is because Eddie Murphy turned down to do the real sequel. So they kind of like spinned it off and put Cuba Gooding Jr. And then Cuba Gooding Jr. went on camera to shit on Eddie Murphy. And he's like, hey, now I got the part that you turned down or whatever. And that Daddy Day Camp turned out to be a fucking flop. Like, it completely flopped when it came out. So, and then he just, Gooding Jr. just kind of disappeared and shut the fuck up.
They did a movie together, though, after that.
Together?
Yeah, he was in Norbit. He was the asshole boyfriend of the lady that Norbit liked.
Look, I know I was the one defending that movie, but I haven't seen it in fucking years, man.
I don't remember it.
He was in there. It was him, and then there was Cat Williams.
Eddie
I remember
Griffin.
Cat Williams.
Yeah.
Eddie Griffin.
Yeah.
Well, what was I going to say? To wrap this all around, it's safe to say, right? But you support equality in movies and mine as well in real life.
Yeah, I mean,
just all I've been saying is, man, like just be a decent person. Don't be a dick. And if everybody just could understand fully that concept, I think we would all be in a better.
If everybody could understand that fully as a concept, we would not have to keep having this conversation.
Pretty much. But I do this with the intention of somebody at some point listening and taking that and kind of understanding that. I just would like to be able to move forward.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Freddy. I think that might be a pipe dream. Like, I'm fairly certain anybody who's listening to this conversation and going, yeah, it's just a jerk off session between us. That's all that is, man.
Everybody's going to think I'm an asshole because I said a lot of people in the valley are ignorant. But I mean,
that's fine. We already lost 2 subscribers, so
2.
But, yeah,
you'll get them back, man.
But here's the thing: everybody that's not ignorant agrees with you, so you're on good footing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
So, you have anything new going on? Or anything that you want to throw out there before you throw out your social media and shit?
Shows? No.
Anything else you working on?
I'm just working on my YouTube. Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure some people are upset because, like, I put a lot of Mortal Kombat stuff, but that's like something that I really enjoy. So I like to.
Yeah, do as far as the creative content, man. I tell everybody, do what the fuck you like and what you enjoy, and there's something for everybody. Don't try to do what's pleasing to other people, because then you're not going to be satisfied yourself, which is the most important, and you're going to satisfy less people the more you try to satisfy more people, if that makes sense at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, just do what you like, man. I really enjoy the fucking when y'all really going on the movie reviews, but like when you really like break it down, because there's some that you kind of did where it was just kind of like I felt like it was an overview, but I was like, maybe he just did that because they were short on time or some shit. I saw like a 12-minute one that you had,
I would like to do more 30-minute ones. It's just that I'm trying to build the channel up more, and people don't necessarily like want to sit there for like 30 minutes and listen to me talk about a movie. So like I try to cut out like.
Well, I mean, it is kind of smart. It is kind of smart where y'all do the picture in picture with the movie preview and shit. I feel that it's those small details that keep the fucking the people. It keeps me watching, because then I can see and I can relate to what the fuck you're saying. So as opposed to you just been sitting there and then you just talking straight through, then I get it. You know?
Yeah.
But my only piece of advice is like, which I think what you're doing is good and is fine. I think you just need to try to push it a little bit more, and every now and then there's nothing wrong with like dropping your whole channel on Facebook or whatever other social media you use.
Shit, I spam it on other YouTube channels and shit.
Oh.
Like I'm trying to get people to check it out through the comments, like people with the mixtapes.
Yeah.
Like, but I mean, with YouTube, I feel like it's kind of dying though, because it's weird how for some reason I used to be able to get like at least 1,000 or a couple hundred views on a video, and now like whenever I push it, even if it's like relevant or something new or at least popular, like it doesn't get as many views anymore. I don't know if it's because they have like all the ads and shit or what, but I guess I just got to find a way to market it better, because I did lock it up because of work and everything.
Yeah.
But like I unlocked everything. I made it to where like it's more like viewable.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to do like edits to where like I put in little video clips. I don't know if you guys have seen the Bird Box review.
Nah.
No.
Oh, I haven't seen the movie or the review.
Oh, well,
I've seen the memes.
Yeah, I've seen memes, and this is a fact that you can say whatever the fuck you want, but not you, but people listening. But the memes is 85% of the reason as into why I haven't watched the movie. The memes killed it for me. I got fucking annoyed, bro. And because I saw it, I was like, I ain't even fucking... I mean, eventually, at some point, like, I feel I will watch it. But
if you miss it, it's not a big deal.
Okay,
right.
Good. That's good to know.
Well, I was going to say, man, I know like you're into like the comic, like the comic movies and shit like that, man. If you get a chance, check out that Umbrella Academy. It's
is it good?
I enjoyed it.
I was gonna watch it. I was gonna watch it last night, but I started watching Hostel.
Yeah, no, it's not.
I want to dream about killing people, chopping off hands.
Oh, there's plenty of fucking violence in that show.
Yeah.
Wait, is it a show or is it a movie?
It's a show. It's a Netflix series.
Oh, okay.
I still haven't seen Punisher season 1 or 2.
Me neither. I haven't.
I just finished watching the second season.
I seen 5 episodes also as well of Luke Cage, and I haven't been able to continue. It's because I got hooked back onto Narcos.
Luke Cage got Cookie Cutter, but I mean they're all canceled, so it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, that second season kind of seemed like, I mean, don't get me wrong, it was enjoyable, I guess. I mean, it wasn't, I mean, the fact that they killed off like the best villain halfway through the first season was a little bit fucked up. Like Cottonmouth was just like, Jesus, man, I could watch a whole series just about that motherfucker.
I fucking hated that. The lady, I can't remember her name, but I fucking hated her. Like, I wanted her to die for so long. And then
I kind of take that as like she did a good job playing the character that like I hated her so much.
She did, but she was a bitch and annoying. So it was like, oh, like, how are you not caught yet?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Fucking die.
But then they left off on. I understand. I came across something that said that they might bring back some of the like what is it? Daredevil and Luke Cage on Hulu, maybe. I guess
they couldn't though, because all that stuff, all the Disney stuff, is moving to Disney Plus, which sucks. But
right, but do they have that set up already, or are they still in the planning process for that? Because I haven't seen shit. As far as I know, they haven't moved any of the Marvel properties over there.
Yeah, I think Infinity War was the last, or Ant-Man and the Wasp was the last movie to go to Netflix, and then after that, it's all going to be like they're taking it all off and then moving into Disney. So
yeah, it's just like the ending for Luke Cage and the ending for did you watch Iron Fist?
No,
I didn't. I saw it.
I watched one episode and I was like, "Fuck that."
I'll be honest. It was dumb, and I just enjoyed it. Like,
that was one of those things you started watching, you realized it was dumb, but you couldn't stop watching.
No, I kept watching it because it was dumb. It was
That's
almost
why.
yeah.
Like, it was dumb. Like maybe I should shut it off, but no, and you just continued watching it.
I didn't even think I should shut it off. I got to the end of that first episode. And was like, oh, I'm going to watch this. This is just dumb and fun. But it ends with him like doing like gun fu shit where he's like, doing the punch with the gun and throwing the bullet. And it was just like,
he threw a bullet.
It gets very weird. And apparently it's tied in with the comic. There's actually a reason for all this shit, but like they just jump cut to like, they're like, we're going to go to fucking, Tibet. And then like the next scene is him and I forget the other character's name, but it's just them in a bar having an argument with some bouncer looking dude. And then he just whips out like some magical pistols. And you're like, where the fuck did he get the magical pistols? But it's like
when I shoot them, they curve.
Yeah. Well, it's like the end of that second season. Did you see the second season of Luke Cage?
Yeah.
Okay. It ended with him as like, okay, like now what happens? And then it's like canceled, motherfuckers. That's what happens.
He died.
That should have been like, they do like that shit and then Mike went on to live a happy life. It should have just been like, and right after this scene, Luke got hit with a nuclear bomb. And you're like
fucking Unbreakable.
Yeah, did you see Glass?
Yeah.
That's the one I haven't watched it.
Well, I want to talk about this like later because I could come back.
That's fine.
We definitely could. Yeah, let's go ahead and wrap up now. Let's see. We've talked drugs for an exorbitant amount of time.
Like an hour and a half.
And I hope you learned something from it. Since you said
don't do drugs.
You didn't have extensive knowledge of
a little bit.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I probably would have never touched a lot of stuff if I'd just seen somebody way too excited to talk about it. It's like, oh, I love meth. And you're like, you're way too into that. I'm not. Nah.
Yeah.
But,
you wanna throw your social media out there and plug your fucking YouTube channel for once?
It's double doom, right?
Yeah. My YouTube is Double Doom. My Instagram is hold on, let me check.
And that's how you know when you don't give it out very often. It's like, what the fuck is my screen name again?
Oh fuck.
Is that with capitals and a space or?
Yes, capital D's and space in between. Hold on. It's Mortal Kombat 11 NetherRealm. No spaces, just all one word.
That's your Instagram.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And I mean, obviously, all I put is like Mortal Kombat shit and NetherRealm stuff. So. It's all about pretty much video games. I sometimes plug my YouTube on there, but not very often. Because, I don't know, people don't really respond too much. Like, I put it on there, and, like, people will like, I'll get, like, hundreds of likes on pictures or videos, but when I post, like, about my YouTube, I get, like, 2 or 3 likes, and it's like, okay, fucking dicks.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you trying to be productive and shit.
I feel you on that.
You guys only like me because I post Mortal Kombat. Like,
do you plug your Facebook at all? Or?
No.
Okay. Yeah, don't follow him on Facebook then.
Yeah, y'all had a page at one point, right?
I mean, we have a page on Facebook, but it's not necessarily fully set up, so I don't really feel like putting it out there if it's not done yet.
I get you. Yeah. You can find me at hatfieldstandup@gmail.com as well as Hatfield Standup on Facebook and Twitter.
You can find me Freddy G across the board on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
And if you'd like to listen to the audio version of this podcast, you can go to shoutengine.com/bouncing brains. Obviously, we are on YouTube under Bouncing Brains. Like, share, subscribe. We're on Facebook under Bouncing Brains Podcast. We have a group on there. You can get in there and discuss with like-minded individuals. I guess all 11 of them. And if you'd like to get in touch with us, if you'd like to be a sponsor of this podcast, you can find us at bouncingbrainspodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, guys.
And y'all have a good rest of your Monday.
We have a hot new video coming out called Bouncing Butts. Oh, sorry, I wasn't supposed to announce that.
That's on the premium page.
You gotta pay to watch it.
Hell, you got to pay us to stop showing it to you.
Thank you for
Peace out.
watching. Peace out.